Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. My name is Jeremy Gloff. I'm the host. And thanks to my Patreon subscribers, if anyone wants to throw some money my way, I will always accept it, just like Madonna would. Madonna's taken a lot of money from all of us here. So tonight, we are moving to 1998. It was the end of the 90s. We survived grunge. The boy bands were starting to creep in a little bit, weren't they, in 98?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah.
So let's go around the panel and everyone introduce themselves. We'll start with Jeffrey.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey, in Los Angeles. That's all I've got to say. If you're a big poetry fan, check my Instagram or Facebook, where there'll be a daily poem for the next month.
Oh, and you already did 2, right?
Yes, from a project called Bitter Ransom Love Poems.
I need to get caught up. And Jeffrey and I did an album together of where I put music to some of his poems.
Yes, and we should do another one because it's my birthday coming up.
Uh-oh.
And we had once discussed that is my birthday thing that we should do every year.
All right, Eric.
He's like,
Oh, well, no, we'll definitely work on something.
okay.
Eric? Yes.
Hi, I'm Eric. I live in New Orleans. I'm a huge Madonna fan and big collector. I've seen her many times in concert, and I can't wait where she has this movie coming out. Hopefully it gets done, gets to be made. Hopefully it'll be big as what is it for Freddie Mercury movie?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Madam X tour DVD. I thought that's. I'm like,
oh yeah, no, that's coming out in October, my friends.
the day of what is it? October 8th is the day of my birthday, so hopefully I get to see it. Yeah.
Did anyone even hear of Paramount Plus before this shit?
No.
My really good friend lives like down the street from Paramount, so yes, I've heard of it.
You know who's heard of Paramount Plus? Madonna.
Yeah. Okay, we have a new person on our panel today, which I'm so excited to have some. Yeah, maybe Anne should just stop by for a couple minutes. Okay, so Sharon, before I introduce you, my friend Anne did the Erotica podcast with us, and she hates Madonna, and she just ripped on her for 2 hours straight. It was brutal. Jeffrey, she was brutal, wasn't she?
Yeah, we were doing like one of Madonna's best albums, and she's like, I fucking hate this song.
she's like, she's disgusting. So I'm still getting mail about that podcast. I'm still trying to recover. So Sharon, tell us about you. Welcome to the panel.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a lifelong Madonna fan, which Jeffrey will find hysterical to hear me say, because he has. So Jeffrey, in addition to being a lifelong Madonna fan, I'm also Jeffrey's best friend from high school, and I'm also even more funnily enough, a lifelong member of the goth industrial scene. So I will be your resident goth authority here on this Madonna Ray of Light panel. I'm super excited to be that for you.
How great.
And I promise to not rip on this album. I actually happen to love this album, so I'm not going to be ripping on it whatsoever. I have lots of great things to say about the record, so I won't be that. And actually, incidentally, funny thing about Erotica, I remember Jeffrey and I driving through Orange County, listening to the Erotica album. I think we were sophomores in high school, and I just remember by the end of that album just being like, "Oh my God, Jeffrey, you've got to turn this record off. I'm going to kill myself." And what's super funny about that is I went back and listened to it probably about a month ago, and I was like, "This album is fucking great." Like, what the hell was I on? It's like there's actually like and because like I kept reading, like people were like, it was so diss, but it's inarguably one of our finest records. So I went back and I'm like, no, this album's fantastic. What crack was I smoking at the time? So I was wrong.
Wow. Yeah, Erotica is definitely one of those ones that has aged with time, I feel like.
She really got unfairly slammed on that record.
Do you feel 20 years from now we're going to listen back to Madam X and be like, we were wrong?
Nope.
I don't know.
I think everyone's ready for this era to just go away. Just put the DVD out, just sell it, and just do something new.
Sharon, will you be joining us for Madam X?
I would love to, actually. I have a lot of thoughts.
Well, we love thoughts. We love thoughts.
I would be happy to join you for that one.
All right, so it was 1998. We always start off by me telling a little bit about where I was in my life. As the host, I get to do that. So where the fuck was I? I had moved to Atlanta, then I gave away everything I owned, and I traveled back up the coast. So in 1998, I was living on the floor of this noise musician's house in Phonogenics, New York. And I remember going back and forth to Buffalo a lot, which was about an hour away on the Greyhound. So I was riding the Greyhound, going to hang out with my Buffalo friends. I was jumping from couch to couch all over like the northeast. And I went down to Florida on vacation, which I'm in Tampa now. So the first time I really went to Florida on vacation as an adult was December 97. And I remember this really cheap looking website, Madonna.com. The internet was new, but it was up. And she had a little graphic announcing her upcoming album, Ray of Light. So I was like, oh my God, Madonna has a new album coming out. Because we didn't really talk about Evita, but she had Evita. She had her ballads collection, Something to Remember. So she was kind of gone. She had done the ballads. Last time we heard from her, she had You'll See from Something to Remember. Then she had You Must Love Me from Evita. So it's like, what's Madonna going to do next? And then we saw this title, Ray of Light, which when you just hear that, you're like, this is interesting. So then we're back in Fredonia and I'm on my couch. And then I see this image on MTV. It's this little commercial with a clip about the upcoming Madonna video. And there's this black hair and she's in this desert. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because all my friends I hung out with like music indie snobs. And they'd always, like, I was never the cool person in the group. Everyone else always had cooler taste in music than me. And this was the album, even from that first clip of the video, where people were like, oh, Madonna's getting really good. So this is the time when all the cool kids, like snobs in my life, I don't know, and you guys will talk about it, but this was an album that changed who liked Madonna. And I remember the first time I heard Frozen, like I taped it off the TV and I had it on my Walkman. I used to work at Arby's. So I walked in the snow. It was like a 20-minute walk to Arby's. I would just listen to this recording of Frozen over and over because I'd gone through so much in my life between bedtime stories and now. And none of my other faves were really releasing music at that time. Like, was Prince coming out with anything? He had, I don't know, like Emancipation.
Don't say that to Jeffrey.
No, Jeremy's a huge Prince fan. We do a Prince podcast.
Yeah, we do a Prince one.
Oh,
but so Frozen put to music like something I was feeling, and I couldn't believe how much Frozen was what I needed at that time in my life. So it's like from 1984 on, Madonna at that point always delivered just what I needed. And here she was again, because I'd evolved a lot from 94. Like I was going to the clubs. I was, very cool. And, none of the other people kept up with me. Like all my 80s faves, like Cyndi Lauper, who else? I can't even think now, but like they weren't keeping up the way Madonna did. She was just in a league of her own, and here she comes with a song that was so fucking different and so fucking good. So I guess, should we talk about Frozen now or do it in the context of the order of the tracks on the album?
Wait until.
Okay, we're gonna wait. Okay, so then I'm just gonna talk for like 2 more minutes. Then there was a special on MTV where they were in the studio with Madonna and William Orbit. I remember sitting in Katie Starr's house in Buffalo watching this special, and they were sharing clips of the album. So I remember there was a little clip of the song Ray of Light, there was a clip of Little Star, and a clip of Skin. And I was like, holy shit, this new Madonna album she's working on is it's next level. I couldn't believe what I was hearing on the TV. How cool, like she just seems so cool again in a way that almost next level. So the day the album came out, I took a Greyhound to Buffalo. I went to this music store in downtown Buffalo, and I just remember I couldn't wait to have that CD in my hand. And all the way from Buffalo back to Fredonia, I listened to it on my Discman for the first time. And, it's an album about traveling, about change. And that was March. It came out in March 98, right? So by by October 98, I moved into the apartment in Tampa that I'm still in 2021.
Wow.
Yep. So that's kind of like my Ray of Light story. So let's go around the circle and everyone talk about your first thoughts and how it came into your life.
I don't remember how it happened, but somebody sold me the CD like 2 weeks early. And I was in college at the time. I was a senior in college, and my friend Sark was also a huge Madonna fan. And so I remember I burned him a copy of the CD, and the two of us like just made excuses to get together so we could listen to that album. And I would drive around the campus with my windows rolled down, hoping that people would think I was cool because I had some unreleased Madonna song that no one had heard before. Because I would be sure to be playing a song that was like an album track with my windows rolled down and blasting. And time after time after time, not one person gave 2 fucks.
Oh.
And I'm still single to this day.
Yeah. All right. Who would like to go next?
Well, I remember I was 16 at the time. I was in the 9th grade or 10th grade. Yeah, I think I was in the 10th grade. And I remember cutting the grass, asking my mother if I cut the grass, if she will give me some money to go to, do you remember a store called Blockbuster Music?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I walked to Blockbuster Music, and they had the $20, the special edition because of the cover.
Oh, yeah.
They had the standard CD. And I said, my mom would kill me if I spent $20 on the 3D cover. So the other one was like $13. And the guy, he tried to explain to me what the album was about, but I was just so excited just to listen to it. And when I like something, I like to repeat it over and over and over and over. I never get tired of it. So I just remember listening to Drown World and just probably repeating it like 100 times. The whole album is like really good back to forth. It's just, everything about it is just special because it's a nicer Madonna. She's not bitchy. She's being like very, very laid back. Just everything about this album is just like special. But I remember when I was 16, so here in New Orleans, you have to be 18 to go to the bars and clubs. But I snuck in. I was going to the clubs at 16, and to hear, the remixes of Frozen out at the bar, seeing people, you see the videos on MTV, but like to be out at a young age, just to see, people dance, to react to the album and the song, it's just like really cool. And I remember the DJ, he played Ray of Light twice that night.
Oh.
And it's just a magical time. I just remember it.
It was
I also
magical.
have like I remember that was my first poster that I ever brought before. The Ray of Light, it's 24 by 24 poster. So it's a really special album to me.
Remember when clubs used to be fun?
I know.
Well, down here,
Yeah.
well, down here they used to be open 24 hours, but now they're everything since COVID is just like everything closes at 2 or 3 o'clock now.
There's so much COVID fuckery down in Florida. Let's not even go.
It's that
Separate
here.
podcast.
Sharon.
Oh my God. So the funny thing is, by the time the Ray of Light came out, I had the first Madonna album and Like a Virgin. Fun fact, I dressed up as Madonna in 1984 for Halloween, as did literally every other girl in probably a 7-block vicinity of me for Halloween. It was just a fucking sea of Madonnas that year. Me and another little girl went trick-or-treating that year, and the woman asked us what we were, and we both said Madonna, and she had no idea what we were talking about. Like, I don't think she had ever heard of Madonna, had no clue. Like, it was amazing. But they did get a lot of candy. But then, like, early high school, is when I got really deep into the goth industrial scene. And so, like, I was very aware that it was not cool to like Madonna, right? But I had listened to a lot of Madonna. So, like, fun fact, I will tell you, I think the most goth Madonna song ever written was Supernatural, the B-side of, I can't remember.
Oh,
the whole
Cherish.
song. Right, because the whole song is about her having sex with a ghost, and they have a ghost baby.
Right.
Definitely the most goth song she ever wrote. Like I have been stumping for years in the goth scene. Somebody needs to cover that song.
Oh my God.
Because it's like
yes.
it's a classic, right? So by the time Ray of Light came out, I was like, I was deeply aware that I wasn't supposed to like Madonna, and I was also at that point, so IDM was starting to get very big, and I was starting to get very into IDM. So like your Audicors, your Aphex Twins, as it were. William Orbit, all of a sudden, I find out is the producer on this record, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, this woman is making it very hard for me not to like her.
Oh.
So like William Orbit is the producer, right? And then I see the video for Frozen, and I'll put a pin in it because I know we have to get to that part of the record. And it's like, and she's beautiful, and it's super goth, and she turns into ravens, and I remember, right? Well, as I said, I'll put in a pin in it, but I remember being so I was going to San Francisco State University at the time, and I was talking to my friend Don Bourbano. I'm probably gonna have to tell him I've just referenced him in this. And we were talking about this record. And I remember I had my book bag, and I just got so angry. I literally threw my book bag, and I'm like, God damn it, God damn it, Madonna, like, God damn you for doing this. So like, so I was apparently just very enraged at the fact that she made a record that I was gonna like. So, and she did.
So, now, do y'all remember at the time, like when I heard this Madonna album, I was like, Madonna's changed forever. Like she's mature, she's grown. Like little did we know what the future held for us. But for a moment in time,
a mature Madonna. She's matured now. She'll never be immature ever again.
Yeah.
I never thought too critically about her stuff, but I mean, doing these podcasts, I've realized like some of her albums are just like pretty eclectic. I mean, like the Dick Tracy soundtrack with doing like standards and some of the pop songs, and then like some of the like a Prayer, how it's just like not super pop, it's very like acoustic-y, and then like how she actually did her acoustic set, or with American Life, and this album with the spirituality. So it's very interesting. She actually she doesn't get the credit for being like such a great talent, but she is pretty eclectic. I have this newfound appreciation for that.
Now I think everyone watching this probably knows the background of the album, but we'll just do like the Reader's Digest. She had her first baby, Lourdes, right before she made this album. She discovered the Kabbalah. She did Evita, which was one of her few critically acclaimed movies, right?
Because there's no speaking lines in it.
Yeah.
Music.
So she really was
literally no speaking lines in it.
It really was a transformative time for Madonna. And a lot of times I think she gets accused for being inauthentic, but I feel like at this time she made this album, it really was an authentic growing period for her. I think, years later, she kind of threw this all out, which is unfortunate, but for a moment in time, I think is who she really was. So this was the album. So before we started talking about the music, what did you all think of the cover the first time you saw it? It was kind of a different Madonna, right?
It's beautiful.
Is that Stephen Meisel did the cover?
It's Mario.
Mario. Oh.
Estina?
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
It was so earthy. And that's the time. What was on the charts at this time? Was this like around the time of like Sheryl Crow?
I think like Backstreet Boys, weren't they on the charts?
But you still had like the tail end of like the Lilith Fair thing. So I think Madonna had Alanis Morissette on her label on Maverick. So I think Alanis had her Thank You out at the time, right? Wasn't that the year that?
98. It was 98.
So there was still, even though like the teen pop thing was starting to creep in, there still was kind of the remnants of the Lilith Fair. Jewel was still around at the time, right? Kind of on the charts.
Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple.
Yeah.
So Madonna was with this album, I feel like she was placing herself kind of alongside. She was definitely more Fiona Apple than Britney Spears at this point with Ray of Light.
And Cher was around too.
Oh, good old Cher. That is true. Believing in life after love. But when I got the album of Ray of Light, I just thought Madonna looked so cool. Like it was just so kind of like, it's such a cheesy word, but like kind of grungy.
Well, we can't mention Cher without Jeremy Gloff doing the Cher voice from the early Madonna records, which the Cher voice was gone by this phase in Madonna's career. So please give the viewers at home a example of the Cher voice
Oh no.
from Madonna's tracks, because that is potentially my single favorite thing about doing these.
So Sharon, on the early Madonna albums, most notably Like a Virgin, the Madonna Cher voice is very present. Like on Dress You Up, all over. Wait, dress you up in my
All over your body. Yeah.
You're an angel in disguise. I can see
Yeah.
it in your
I can
eyes.
see it in your eyes.
So
Oh,
the
totally.
Cher voice is gone.
Yeah.
She had
She
vocal.
took singing lessons.
She took singing lessons,
Yeah.
which at
Very,
the time,
very noticeable.
yeah,
that
very
she-
noticeable. And when you guys heard these, weren't you like, oh my God, Madonna's voice after these singing lessons? Like, I couldn't believe it. She was so fucking good. And I guess it'll be interesting because I feel like we're crossing a bridge here. And then when we get into the later albums, like here we are on top of the bridge. So,
Yeah.
all right. Does anyone have any thoughts on the album cover or the album itself before we start jumping into the track by track?
I think it's one of the most iconic covers she's ever done. I think it's one of the most beautiful I think it's one of the most iconic covers she's ever done. I think it's sumptuous. I think I think so much of how this record came together was just like A+. Like everything was in top form, and I think that cover is just a piece of that puzzle.
You know what else was out? Wasn't Bjork's third album out around this time? The Homogenic.
Yeah, it came out in '97.
Okay, so Homogenic was around. Even Janet had gone darker with Velvet Rope, if you
Yes.
would want to get technical. And then you had stuff like Prodigy was big at the time, right?
On Maverick.
Yeah.
Yep, on Maverick, Moby. So there was a lot of pretty
Right.
edgy stuff. You even had like Marilyn Manson at the time, right?
Yes.
So that's a whole nother podcast. But Madonna was really aligning herself with some really cool shit at this time. You know, don't you guys kind of wish we could have paused the world just right then? Like, let's just stay there.
Well, I don't think we realized how good it was. But although I think wasn't the remnants of the Gulf War still happening? I mean, it was as you're living it, every period seems like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then like in hindsight, it's like, oh, that actually was pretty amazing. But
Well, the other thing that was in that era, which most people would not celebrate, but I am not most people, would be the Spice Girls.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like them.
give a shout out to Sharon's Leave in Silence by Depeche Mode t-shirt.
Oh yeah. This and it's actually the one of the lyrics from I can't stand this emotional violence.
Sharon, we did a Cure podcast. Where were you for that one?
Oh, well, apparently I wasn't invited.
Oh.
Why didn't you invite me?
That was one of the really early ones. Jeffrey, were you on that
Oh.
one?
I didn't attend because I figured I'd have nothing to say.
Oh, your buddy
So,
Andy was on it.
Yeah, I invited Andy. Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
well, you should have invited me. I've got plenty of things to say about the Cure.
All right, so if we ever circle back to the Cure, we'll definitely
Yeah.
make that happen. All right, so I was in my Discman on Route 5 in a Greyhound bus. I remember the day. It was cloudy. It was cold, and Substitute for Love / Drown World goes into my headphones, and there's all the little like jungle sounding drum fills, and then it gets to that end part where she like really starts singing, and I remember just sitting up in my bus. I couldn't believe it, like the Ferris wheel, no heart, like. And I felt like the first time I heard. Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was very Alanis vocal. I felt that little section there because Alanis was on Maverick Records. But what did you all think of Drowned World the first time you heard it?
I loved it. I mean,
Great.
I put that sucker on repeat over and over. But I wonder why does it have two titles to it? Why do you think she did that?
I would venture to guess there was probably some sort of demo that was like there were two songs at one point and then she brought them together. That's what I would assume.
There was a demo that was in 3/4 time of Substitute for Love.
Well,
Is Was it
You
faster?
talked about it before about the Ray of Light, the demo album before William got to it, and you said it was a totally different album.
Those are like
Like
super
different.
boring. Every song was like really mellow
Mhm.
and slow, and then William Orbit like really enhanced the shit out of these songs. And recently, I think we mentioned this in our little chat group that William Orbit's uncut remix or mixes of the album were somehow leaked, and every track is like 8 minutes long, and I swear they all are so much more enhanced. Like Drowned World Substitute for Love, it has like a whole suite of music that goes on before the verses start, and it like to me it makes the song so much better because it's like it really lets you like it lets it breathe and it lets it like be very like epic. Whereas this one, it kind of just like start. I mean, obviously for time and things like that, but and you wouldn't know the difference had you not heard that other one. So it's very it's worth tracking down if you don't have it.
Yeah, because I love this album so much. So getting those versions of the songs, it was cool to just sit there and be like, "Oh, this is so interesting. It's because the album's given us so much over the years, and to have it give you even more. Like how many years later now? 20?
I would say that's probably my favorite Madonna bootleg ever. Is that thing that just came out, and like
over the Rebel Heart demos?
Over the Rebel.
Tough call.
Tough call. Oh God. Yeah, so the song felt very authentic the first time I heard it. It felt very edgy. Just like I don't know. Now some people may hate her, but I always have loved Courtney Love. Like bless her heart, I love her. And at that time Celebrity Skin was out this year in 98.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. So it's interesting that Madonna was just aligning herself much more with these alternative, which is such a stupid word, but it's what we got to work with. I don't know. Even though this was a top 40 album, it wasn't alongside, the Spice Girls at the time, which we love. We did love the Spice Girls, right? Was the second Spice Girls, was this Spice World year, 98?
I think so, because I think the third album was like right before the millennium.
Okay.
And the third album, which was not the notable one.
The albums they have.
Jerry left.
Believe it or not. Spice World, and then oh God, I can't even remember what the third one was called anymore.
Was that the last? Did they do any of the other ones?
The greatest hits.
Yeah.
My friend Quentin's a huge Spice Girls. He wrote a whole book about their discography.
Oh wow!
The amazing thing is, I actually know. I still actually know literally all their songs by heart, but I somehow managed to erase the entire third record from my memory.
maybe that's not a bad thing, right?
But so Substitute for Love, I think there was something. So I will say the thing that we give her a lot of shit for, like the artifice, right? And so much of her is artifice and, kind of putting on an act. But I do think, for what it's worth, she was tapping into something very genuine about herself. She was in a point of made a significant change in her personal life. And, and I also think she was coming off of both a period of significant change, but also a period of like having really achieved a great deal of transition that was very welcome to her. Like she was coming off of Evita, which had been clearly like, something that was very difficult, but ultimately very rewarding for her.
Right.
Having a child, I think, was something she very much desperately wanted, but also at the same time was a huge, responsibility. And she clearly took that very, very seriously.
Yeah. And
clearly still does, despite her zaniness. And, and I think despite her, zaniness and, I think ultimately she's well-meaning in her sort of search for, like spirituality. And I think, Substitute for Love to me was kind of like an introduction, like a first chapter in a book and she was really setting a mood and a tone. I think that's my husband behind me. For the rest of the record, that was like, not just in terms of her own, like what she was sort of revealing about herself, but also, like that this was going to be a story that was more than herself. It was going to be a little, it was going to be a story about kind of inviting everyone else to be part of this transformation.
Sure.
And I think there's something very, universal, and I think despite everything we know that came after it, like there's still, like, I went back and listened to it, and I went back and watched the video, and I was telling Jeffrey this. I happened to watch the video a couple days ago for the first time since becoming a mother myself, and I have a little 4-year-old girl, and oh my God, the very end sequence when Lourdes, I assume it's Lourdes, because
right.
I hope it wasn't a stunt baby, because then I'm going to be very angry. But
no, it was Lourdes.
Okay, like if it wasn't really Lourdes, I'm going to be really angry. But when Lourdes comes in at the very end and she picks up Lourdes and she looks in the camera and she says, "This is my religion." I mean, it just hit me as a now that I'm a mom, like it's just a very, very profound statement. And to me, it's not just the statement of what the record probably represented to her, but it's also like as a mother, So I just think it was like, it was just a really perfect way to start the record. And I think it really just kind of like sets the stage for what's to come with everything afterwards. So.
Ooh, I got a little teary-eyed when you were talking. There's a lot of memory and power in this album for me. So
this album this is when I was like turning 21 and going to the clubs for the first time and being gay for the first time. And like, I have chills thinking about it. Like so many of these songs were like my original club songs. Like the first time I went dancing, like the Frozen remixes, and even the remix of this song, they played it quite often. And then the Sky Fits Heaven remix, that was the Bside.
Oh yeah.
Was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You see, I felt like the remixes didn't live up. I thought the album versions were better than a lot of the remixes. What did you
actually think? I didn't care for the Nothing Really Matters remixes so much, but like the Ray of Light remix is like, oh my God, there's that one that's like 10 minutes long that's like so fucking great. I mean, I still listen to that when I need, like, when I feel depressed and need energy. It's like that when it comes to that little part, I'm like, you. What other songs? The Power of Goodbye, did they have remixes? If they did it.
They did, but they were from the UK, but they were not
Yeah, I don't think I liked those.
No.
But Sky Fits Heaven was really good. For the Frozen remixes, of course, were fucking great.
Oh yeah, they were good.
Especially that like 10-minute dance one that was like, as soon as the chorus kicked in, I mean, that's the equivalent of like when they drop the bass now. It's like, okay, your life is made on the dance floor when that fucking part comes in,
Do you know what's interesting is when I hang out with the kids, I'm just like Madonna. I have to have my younger friends to suck the life out of the younger. But if I play him Madonna, if I play him Confessions, they think it's the best thing ever. But the young kids don't like Ray of Light. Every time I play it for the kids, as I'll call them, which would probably be offended, but when they're 20, 21, 22, they think this album's boring and slow. I've heard that a lot. Isn't that weird? Because
the demos, though, it's really boring. Yeah. Because this is like so much faster than those demos.
But I feel like even society and culture has moved away from that kind of like thinking person's music that this album was. So
it definitely belongs to its place in time. I would say it's not. I mean, it's interesting because I think it belongs to its place in time, but it's not dated. I don't think it sounds. I think it sounds very timeless.
Yeah.
But I do think it's very much anchored in the time and place that it was made. And I do agree that probably this generation would hear it and be like, oh, this isn't really dance floor music, because I think dance floor music has really evolved in how we define it now. Yeah. But that's a little bit sad to me, because like if you think about the dance music that was coming out at the time, and that's why she picked William Orbit, right? Like there was, and like one of the things that she liked about him, that she said in one of the interviews I read, was that there was like a kind of a subtle mood of melancholy that kind of came through his style. And I also I perceived that in a lot of kind of like the UK dance music that was happening at the time. If you think about stuff like Orbital that was happening, or the Orb, there's a couple others that are escaping me, like it had that kind of like, kind of moody, mellow sadness, and like you don't get that as much, and I feel like, honestly, I feel like we we could have a little more of that these days. So maybe the kids are wrong.
I feel like there's so much sadness and trauma in people, and now it just keeps getting pushed down. Like, have fun, don't be sad, but it's down there. And I think music used to help me release my sadness. It still does.
Totally. This album used to make me feel so good. Sky Fits Heaven. I would put that on and just drive around in my car, and just life was great. Nothing really matters. That song didn't do it for me, but Sky Fits Heaven did.
All right.
Sky Fits Heaven is one of the best songs on that record.
I know. Should we just skip to it?
Well, I think we have to do Swim first.
Yeah. So Swim is another down tempo. And wasn't there a mass shooting at the time that inspired her to write this? I'm sure there was. There always is. And it's a very mellow, fluid, mid-tempo, timeless. It's a good fucking song. And it continues, it's definitely a track 2. Like it doesn't have the wow factor that Substitute for Love had, but it's the perfect track 2. It's mellow. It's continuing that new Madonna. So what did you all think of Swim when you heard it?
I thought it was really good. It sounded really good. I mean, everything on the album was produced really well, where you can feel like the way she was talking about, she wants the music to, you can feel it, you can be emotional when you listen to it. So I think she did a very good job with it.
It's so atmospheric too, this song. I'm surprised she never did it live. Like, cause she got into playing the guitar. No, I mean, not more recently though, right?
No. She doesn't like those albums anymore.
Oh.
It would be nice if we get if she will let her fans choose what kind of music she wants. I mean,
so are you saying you don't need to hear Candy Shop every fucking tour? Is that what you're?
Yeah. And not anything from except the Devil Recognize You. I do like that one.
I like that one.
I like Hard Candy, or there's a few songs in MDA that I do like. Rebel Heart, there's a few songs, but that's it. I mean,
and I'm sure I know people grow and change and stuff, but sometimes I'm like, how the fuck did the same person that wrote Swim write Candy Shop? Like, yeah, that's such a regression.
Prince went from like singing Uptown to like the religious shit, and you're just like, I don't understand how you go from like everything to nothing and you shrink down.
Now, can we do a sidebar just for fun? Because I feel like we're all music lovers. Who are some musicians that you love that stayed good from point A to point B? Because Madonna's Pet Shop Boys are still as good in your opinion.
I mean, Depeche Mode are pretty fucking good, but they do a stinker here and there.
Yeah, so, I mean, Pet Shop Boys for sure, I think, have been consistently. They've had their ups and downs, but they've been consistently good for.
I think they're probably a band that's been around since the beginning that I've followed. Like, they're probably the only one.
Because I'll say Marianne Faithfull, I feel like is still coming out with great music. I feel like Stevie Nicks stayed good, in my opinion.
I don't. I love.
You don't like her voice, I know.
No, I just feel like she's like flat and atonal. Like ever since
I love that 24 karat gold though.
I'm pissed because like I like the track listing because I had all those demos, and then like she re-recorded them, and it's like, oh god.
Hey, you know who else? Do you know what another big '98 album was? They keep coming back to me, which was getting played the same time as all this was. From the Choir Girl Hotel, Tori Amos, right?
Oh, wow.
I was about to say Tori Amos, yes.
Wasn't that 98 Raspberry Swirl? Oh, I love.
Yeah.
She was really good until about 2000. Then I didn't like the albums after that.
Are you all Tori fans or no?
I am.
Early Tori.
I was, yeah.
I like the concept of her, but not a big fan per se. I one time I won free tickets to some Bsides only show, and these fans were like outside crying, and there was literally no way to transfer my pass to them. And so I go inside, and I had like a really close seat, and she's performing these songs where literally the entire audience is like orgasming and crying and passing out.
Aww.
And I'm like, never heard the song.
I do love Tori. I like her through like maybe American Doll Posse. All right. Okay, I'll stay on track. I just get excited talking about music, and I get excited talking about 1998 because that's the last time I still felt alive. No. That's a little dramatic. Okay,
Except for now, except for this moment.
except for this moment. Do we have any other thoughts on Swim? There's not a lot to say.
What about the Susanna connection,
That's
Jeffrey?
Candy Perfume Girl.
I thought it was Swim as well. The Rolling Stone article mentioned Swim as well.
Oh, I thought it was just Candy.
I think it's
Perfume
just
Girl.
Candy Perfume. But if
Okay,
anyone would like to-
I will pull up that reference and we can move on. 6 things you didn't know about Ray of Light.
Oh yeah, she sent me this article this morning that was pretty good, and she
Oh.
mentioned all the things in it because they're all good.
Yeah, send it
Hold
to
on,
me,
let me-
please.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. I'll read it. I have it right here. I'll read it because I was like, what? Like, that was news to me. Okay, here it is. Melvoin. Is it Melvoin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you folks would definitely be the experts there on pronunciation. Maintains she also wrote the original lyrics to Ray of Light Swim, which she says were changed but not significantly, as well as the original melodies, which she concedes were manipulated. In this case, Melvoin didn't get credit or compensation.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what she says.
so she did 2 songs on the album.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said she did get credit for Candy Perfume Girl, but not for Swim.
Huh.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, that's why I said it to Jeffrey. I was like, that's news to me.
I actually I must have skimmed right over that because
So for the viewers out there, Susanna Melvin is the twin sister of Wendy Melvoin from Prince and the Revolution / Wendy and Lisa. Susanna was a member of the band The Family, who originally sang Nothing Compares to You. And much to my surprise, the Family album came out in what, 87?
yes.
So I never really thought I'd hear of Susanna Melvin again. So when I opened up the credits for Ray of Light to see her name in there, I was like, holy shit. I mean, that's the last thing I expected was to see Susanna in there. So apparently she got robbed for this track Swim because she wrote it and didn't receive any credit at all, is what this article is saying.
Well, and the other thing is apparently Candy Perfume Girl was written because she was mourning her brother Jonathan's heroin overdose,
Right.
which is also something I didn't know. So
I'm working backwards here. Since Susanna is the sister of Wendy, Wendy dated Katie Lang, and so I bet that's how Madonna and her know each other.
Oh,
My theory.
And Wendy would come back on the Hard Candy album and play guitar on
Yes.
She's Not Me. So the Melvoin sisters seem to pop in and out of the Madonna universe occasionally. Yeah, and Wendy and Lisa had an album about the death of Jonathan called Girl Brothers, which
Yeah.
also came out in 99, right?
Something like that. That's a great album.
That's a great album. Yeah. I diss Wendy and Lisa so much on our Prince podcast, and I probably really shouldn't because I love their music. And
I know. I actually there was so much Wendy and Lisa hate going on. I was like, in case they're watching, I don't know what these people are talking about.
how do I redeem myself? Because I want to do their album someday. Well,
Oh God, they're never going on your podcast.
they're never gonna go on my podcast. Damn it. Okay. So any thoughts on Swim before we move on? Susanna, here's your shout out that you did not receive.
Yeah, you did a fucking amazing job because that's one of the
yeah,
best songs.
Susanna, you are my hero. It's a great song.
Great song. And Susanna, I love the F Deluxe album. Okay, moving on. The song Ray of Light was originally a song called Sephrin, correct? In the early 70s, an acoustic song, which didn't like the niece or granddaughter of the original artist was reworking it as a dance song with William Orbit. And then Madonna got her claws into it somehow. Is that the story?
Is that how it happened? Because I didn't know that this was a partial cover for many years. And then when I found that out, I have to say, I think less of the song now. Because she can this is her whole concept and her whole album title and all this stuff. And it's a cover.
But the chorus and pre-chorus were new to the song. The chorus.
Whatever. That, I don't know. That cheapens the whole thing for me. Truly.
Have you all heard the original before?
I have.
Yeah, only because Jeffrey sent it to me, and I was like, "Whoa!" But I can read the Rolling Stone. They have a little blurb on it if it's helpful.
Oh, Yeah.
Just as Orbit offered Madonna his Melvoin material, he similarly sent her a tape featuring. Oh, actually, that explains the Melvoin connection. If it's helpful, I can go back and read that.
I love all
he
these.
remixed My Name Lisa song.
Hold on. Sorry. So this is going to jump ahead to Candy Perfume Girl, but whatever.
That's fine.
Candy Perfume Girl came out of a 2-week writing and recording stint between Orbit and Susanna Melvin, daughter of the top LA session musician Mike Melvoin, brother to late Smashing Pumpkins touring keyboardist Jonathan Melvoin, twin sister to Prince and the Revolution's Wendy Melvoin, and former fiance to Prince. And a partridge in a pear tree. She's no slouch herself. As a member of the family, a splinter group of the time, she co-sang the original version of Nothing Compares to You and co-wrote one of Prince's sweetest songs, Sign of the Time, Starfish and Coffee.
True.
According to Melvoin, William Orbit offered her some tracks to write melodies and lyrics to and sing over for what she thought would either become her solo debut or an album by Orbit's Strange Cargo project, which she, and it turns out Madonna, both loved. I was on the floor of Orbit's studio just putting words together and came up with Candy Perfume Girl, she recalls. It was a personal track for me. At the time I was mourning my brother's death, and it was the allure of drug addiction. I was pretty jacked up about that record happening, and there were a couple of other songs that I had done with him there. And that's, I guess, the reference to Swim as well. Okay. So, yeah. And then just as Orbit offered Madonna his Melvoin material, he similarly sent her a tape featuring unreleased work with Christine Leach, an English singer who'd co-written and sang with Strange Cargo. Leach's uncle is David Atkins, who, as Dave Curtis, had been half of Curtis Muldoon, an overlooked folk duo that released a pair of unsuccessful albums on Deep Purple's label in the early 70s.
Wow. The
first one yielded Saffron, which Leach altered and sang parts of over the instrumental track given to her by Orbit, who had assumed Leach solely wrote what she sang. Madonna made additional changes, and the track became what we know as Ray of Light, which is credited to Madonna, William Orbit, Clive Muldoon, Dave Curtis, and Christine Leach. And then there's additional detail on like what they actually did to the track, but I don't need to read that. If you guys, I think we can probably just pause there.
Cool. Despite the long trajectory of this course or this track coming into fruition or whatever, I still love it. I think Madonna, I feel like Madonna put the period on the end of the sentence. Like even
definitely unique. I mean,
you can't argue with her vocal delivery here. I mean, hearing Madonna go into that falsetto, it was definitely a new voice for her. And I heard that falsetto in the MTV special with Kurt Loder before the album came out, and I couldn't believe that Madonna was hitting these notes. And she struggled to hit them live, except on Oprah Winfrey when she did it.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think it was manipulated in the studio because they have the raw footage of her just doing the take, and I think she was really feeling something here. So I still love this song. I love the video. What do you all think of Ray of Light, the song?
I remember watching it on MTV. They had remember the world premiere?
Oh yeah.
So they showed it, and who was the guy? The guy from Sweden. He did the Prodigy video.
Jonas.
Jonas
Ockerlin. Jonas Ockerlin.
He saw this. She saw their video, "Smack My Bitch Up," and she wanted to work with them. So I love everything. But I was just thinking about, she said that she's a changed mother. So she's I wonder, I said, is Madonna ever going to be sexy again? No, is she going to show her cleavage? I was wondering if she was she going to be wearing like a lot of makeup and stuff, but like over time that's changed, like early back in 2000. But I just like the whole video. It's just magical. I just love the hair, everything. Do y'all remember Janet Jackson? Back in '98, she had that song, "I Get So Lonely."
Oh yeah.
She had the rhinestones underneath her eyes, but if you look closely in the Ray of Light video, Madonna is wearing the same stones around her eyes. So that's something new with the pop stars, what they were doing. Gwen was doing that also. So it was.
Gwen doing that.
Yeah.
She's so there's a photo shoot Madonna did where she has the crystals or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy said he wouldn't work with her anymore.
David LaChapelle?
Something LaChapelle. Yes. Yeah. He said she's too difficult. Everyone's
So that's funny. He's the only one
everyone
that's
that's a
ever
fashion
said that.
designer
Yeah, I know.
says she's very difficult to be with. Everyone.
Do you think Diablo? What's her name? Diablo Cody or whatever, the one that
Diablo Cody. Yeah.
Diablo Cody. I bet she has a few things to say right now.
Oh, I want to hear.
No, she doesn't. She's got an NDA.
Yeah, you know she does.
She ain't got shit to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um,
I think so. I was reading something. So Jonas Ockerlin, who's the director, I was reading something about him making this video. First of all, I love that she decided to have him make this video after the Smack My Bitch Up video, because first of all, everybody remembers that video. Like literally everyone alive remembers that video. And it was so like you could never make that video today.
No.
Like, you could never make that video today, but it was so well executed. And it's funny because like apparently he like she was like, oh, I want to work with you because you made this amazing video, and like and he's also incidentally made I think he made Lady Gaga's telephone video, so he's made a lot of really famous videos.
Mhm.
And she was like, oh, I want to work with you, and he's like, oh, I've got these great ideas. And he brought 2 ideas to her and she was like, no. So ultimately what they made was, I think, more or less her idea, which if you watch it is essentially her version of Koyaanisqatsi, which is the movie from that Philip Glass did the soundtrack to, which is essentially kind of like Life in a Day, it's basically Madonna's version of Koyaanisqatsi, which it's funny to me, and I love that we do this whole essentially like Madonna's 5-minute Koyaanisqatsi with her dancing and looking like radiant and incandescent, and then it ends with Madonna on a dance floor and then like basically falling asleep on a dance floor. It's like it's in some ways it's like kind of stupid and ridiculous, but it's beautiful. It's extraordinarily well executed, and it is actually kind of a perfect encapsulation of Madonna if you think about it. And it's like the first of all, he executed it brilliantly. Like, and apparently I read that like they did like weeks and weeks and weeks of footage, and they had to use literally every piece of footage they filmed.
There's raw footage on the internet, and I guess it's like every scene, but it's like 20 times longer than the pig.
Yeah. Well, they had to film so much to make that video, and God, where was I going with this? But
you're saying how it encapsulated Madonna.
Yeah, and I loved this the shot sequence where he did the hamster wheel and then the ultrasound. Something about that felt very Madonna to me, like particularly where she was at that moment in time in her life. Like there was just kind of like something that felt very resonant, like from an imagery mashup standpoint, and then also it felt kind of frenetic and chaotic, and but also weirdly kind of light and like playful at the same time. So it was, I think it was like a really nice. It felt like a really nice balance, and I think did she win the Grammy for that one? Didn't that video win like
she got
I think
4
so.
MTV awards during the and she got 4 Grammys for Ray of Light. Yeah, 4. I'm trying to think of what the titles are. I know it was Grammy of the Year, Album of the Year.
Finally, right after all these years, she finally got a Grammy, which was cool.
Yeah.
The thing about this video is it gives off such a light vibe, and I feel like Madonna's work from like after she met Guy Ritchie, she started like I feel like she always has a bloody nose. She's always like in a cage getting bruised, and like the thing I loved about Ray of Light is it was like a day in the life, and it just felt good. And that's what I loved about Madonna, is just made you feel good. And her music kind of lost that for me later on, of that that tapping into just the beauty of life and the beauty of dancing, the beauty of the dance floor.
I feel like Madonna felt like she's been under attack ever since. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I feel like that's been the problem, is that like I don't know that she's felt that lightness.
Okay, that makes sense. something I talked about with Ann Fearman is I also feel, because as my friend Rhonda Kay taught me in 2001, there's art and then there's art. I feel like Madonna really started to feel like she's an artist, which she started to really take herself seriously.
Yeah, that's what. And then on tour, she started using the guitar.
Yeah,
and that's
And
why
then
that's why finding out this song is a cover like it kind of ruins the whole thing for me, because it's like this is like her like telling the world what she's learned from Kabbalah and like what she's learned about being a mother and what she's learned from fame, and then it's like, so the entire project is a cover. I'm like, what does that even mean?
I mean, it's kind of a perfect encapsulation of Madonna, though, because like Madonna, I mean, she doesn't write her own songs. Like, you know, like Madonna is a fantastic curator.
yeah.
Like, she has ideas and she works with people to sort of like take them from kind of germination to fully fleshed out form. But it's not like she's not Prince.
Right.
She's not a person who literally like is like, bitch, I'm going to go into a room and I'm going to play every instrument and then I'm going to produce a record and put it out at age 18 and it's going to be a fucking like masterpiece. That's not Madonna. But, you know, and that's okay, because Madonna's brilliant in her own way. She doesn't have to be brilliant in that way. It just
seems weird to me that that's a cover. Like, you would have thought that, like, I mean, there's the
power. I feel like only like 70
like a great name for the tour era. You know, I don't know, whatever.
But I feel like it's only like 60% of her cover, because there's a lot of new lyrics in there too, which I don't know if Madonna wrote them or the niece or whatever she was.
I don't know. It just seems weird. I mean, it just seems weird. Sorry.
Well,
I tried to let it go.
Do we have any thoughts? Any final thoughts on the song "Ray of Light" before we move on?
I do want to talk about the remixes.
Okay.
So many of the remixes of the song are brilliant, and then there's this William Orbit remix, and she used that song on "Beautiful Stranger," and then she used it on some song that she had on MDNA, and I'm like,
yes.
Get rid of that fucking exact same beat. Oh, and she used it on something on music, and it was like, okay, she's used that beat like 4 times.
I have the promo single that has the remix edits. It's like the single edits of the remixes.
The Violet mix. Who is that? Victor Calderon that did that one?
This one has the Violet mix radio edit.
That fucking remix is insane. When it hits, after like all the verses are over, that there's like a beat at the end. Oh, it's so good.
We had to mention that Ray of Light did have a B-side that wasn't on the album, called "Has to Be," which was
not one of my favorites.
No, it was really slow. It was a B-side on Ray of Light, the single.
It was also the 14th track in Japan, correct?
Yeah, but she said that. Do you remember the special that you saw on MTV? She said that she wanted to have 13 tracks, but it was her 13th album because it's something with Kabbalah.
Oh, like the Lucky 13. She always had the red.
There was only 13 tracks on there. I don't know.
Oh, there was something else. Oh, I was going to say we also can't stop without acknowledging that everyone bought Windows XP because of this song. Oh. Like, how could you forget?
That's right.
I didn't have British AOL, but I was yesterday years old when I learned that Joanna Lumley was the person that says you got mail on British AOL. Like,
what? Really?
I know. And
That's
it's like,
funny.
It was like incoming mail. It's like so elegant. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Anyway.
All right. Well, moving on to Candy Perfume Girl, which we already pretty much talked about, but written by Susanna Melvin about the death of her brother. I always felt this song, I never knew what it was about until about 10 minutes ago, but it always felt dark to me. I knew that there was something dark about it. Now, something Madonna did talk about in the early interviews of this album is that she's brought the guitars back. She hadn't really had guitars in her music in many years. And this is a very guitar heavy.
She performed this song on that tour. I think that was the first time she ever picked up a guitar as far as like a song.
Right.
And like, I remember at the show, we were like, what is this bitch doing with the guitar? And then I was like, oh, she's playing it. Oh, okay. Like that was a surprise.
That was on the Drowned World tour, right?
Drowned World tour.
Right.
Which we had tickets. My friend and I had tickets to see it on 9/11, the 9/11.
Oh,
and
shit.
Because of the events of that day, it got moved to like that Saturday.
So,
anyway.
Some people don't like this song, but I always loved it. It has a very like kind of trip hoppy beat. I think her vocals are great. It's just a weird fucking song that definitely isn't. This is not a pop song. This isn't pop music right here. This could go like right alongside the Fiona Apples. Don't you all feel like?
Very much. It's funny too because like my first thought was like, oh, this sounds like something Prince named, and then like I'm cracking up to find out that Susanna like wrote it. It's like, oh well, that explains why it sounds like something Prince would have named. But yeah, it does feel like that kind of like of the Fiona Apple like ilk.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this one other than, I keep thinking of people that were out at the time. PJ Harvey was out still doing her thing. I mean, she still is, but this is when these people were kind of in the main consciousness here. Wasn't that around the time of her?
Yeah, Garbage was out.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that all that stuff was like top 40? It blows my
Liz
mind.
Fair.
Liz
Do you remember
Fair.
her?
Oh yeah, Liz Fair.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you remember a group called Lettuce Jackson? Naked Eye.
I remember
Yeah.
Luscious Jackson.
Luscious Jack. Yeah.
It was all girl band.
Yeah.
Um,
Elastica.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good name. I remember that from '98. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, take me back. All right, Candy Perfume Girl. Any other thoughts? Any messages for Susanna Melvin?
We love Susanna Melvin.
We love you, Susanna. Wendy and Lisa, we love you. Don't watch our Prince podcast.
You lie. You're a hater.
I am not. I own like every Wendy and Lisa CD single with every damn remix. So
You're forgiven.
I don't know why I just turn into that during those Prince podcasts. What's happening to me?
I know you're talking about Prince, but I went to. This was like maybe $30 or $40 back. Let's see. When did this come out? 1992,
90.
93. Yeah. So, Herb Ritz did this cover. He did Madonna's, and he did Michael also around that. What was it? What's that video he did? Who is it? No. The one with Naomi Campbell in it.
In the closet.
So,
In the closet.
yes. So I got this like for $4. So I was excited because you can buy the first and second one, but the third CD it
On the
you
B-side.
get extra music for it. So pretty good CD.
Oh yeah, which we will be discussing on Prince Phonogenics in a few months, if we can ever get to that. All right, so the next song I will say is one of my favorite Madonna songs of all time. Skin, which was originally called Flirtation Dance, correct? Is that what it was? The chorus, do I know you from somewhere? Why do all the things I say sound like the stupid things I said before? Is like, just put it on my gravestone because I feel like everything I say is stupid. This song it was just another level of Madonna dance music. I like it too much to actually talk about it. Someone else talk.
Well, I remember like the musically, it was so good that like usually things were that fast and that like up tempo were remixes, and it was like, oh my god, album tracks now sound like this. This is so cool. And I felt the same way about Sky Fits Heaven, where it was like usually like you have to get a song that fast or whatever on a remix or on a or a CD single or something.
And I just remember listening in my headphones, and the bass was so intense and driving.
And when she does that, put your hands on my skin, and it goes like from ear to ear. Oh my
Yeah.
God, any artist that does that, I'm like, I'm pretty much like your bitch after that. I'm like,
This is definitely a trippy song.
You did it for my ears. Thank you.
Because she kind of hinted at this with the song Bedtime Story on the last album, but she really took us there with this.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about it is, Sharon, like you said, there's just that sadness. So this is a dance song, but it's really sad. And there's nothing I like more than being sad on the fucking dance floor.
I could not agree more. Like I am so with you on that. You have no idea.
Like, give me a beat and then touch into the most tragic, fucking fucked up parts of myself in a song and let me release it on the dance floor.
Oh,
I feel like we don't have that luxury anymore. Like, not with new music.
No.
I'm using that line in a G word. Thank you for my.
Oh, okay.
I just want to be traumatized on the dance floor. That's really all I want. Just like hardcore trauma.
It was so a place to release all those things. And these songs meant so much to me. Even though it's like I don't want to say crappy house songs, but like your CC Peniston's finally, or like finally it's happened to me. I really felt like that. As cheesy as those songs were, there was a lot of heart and pain on the dance floor, and that's why the 90s were the best.
Well, without like completely segue into like that song has like one of the reasons why that song is a classic is because of what you're saying is like you actually felt that there was like real genuine emotion behind that. She was just like, Jesus Christ, finally,
right?
Like it's only been like how fucking long has it taken to finally find this guy with his curly brown hair? Like where the fuck has he been all this time? Jesus Christ. Like, you know, and it's this incredibly uplifting song, but you get that. And I feel like there was so much about Ray of Light that has that feeling to it, which is like, you know, that she was bringing that in. It's just like, you know, and it's like, and you get the fact that it wasn't like all like easy. Like there was a struggle. I mean, like you can feel that you know, like particularly with, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. On songs like, you know, The Power of Goodbye is like it wasn't an easy road, you know? But you know, but you can also get the sense that she came to epiphanies, and she's bringing epiphanies into the music and these songs, and she's sharing them not just in these ballads, but also in these like really uplifting dance songs where she's bringing them out not just in ways that are uplifting and you know in these amazing dance moments, but also with a little bit of heart and empathy and also a little bit of pain, you know, even while we're dancing, you know, and that's what I love about it.
And even like back to CC Peniston, but like finally, when we're saying finally, of course on the dance floor you see all your exes.
Yeah, you're just like,
and all the one night stands and all the ones that didn't work out with. So
and you're just like,
Madonna's vocals are very inventive here. I mean, this is really a deep track. It's very experimental, even for Madonna at the time. Like, you know, she'd done some crazy shit like Act of Contrition on Like a Prayer, but I feel like it was just a new level of experimentation and freedom. I feel like she just didn't feel confined by her expectations. I feel like her expectations and her constant victimization, which is genuine, really has hindered her. And I miss the freedom of her just fucking going in and doing the thing. She just went in and did the thing on this album, I feel like.
No, I agree. I you know, like Substitute for Love is definitely like the first of the, like, feel sorry for me because I'm famous. And it's like, bitch, if you're so inconvenienced, you can like not be famous. Like, it's fine. You can like sit home and like not leave. But like you go out and like post photos of your tits and then you're like, oh, everyone's looking at my tits. It's like,
I mean,
go ahead, Sharon.
I have a little bit of a deeper view on that though. I mean, like I do actually feel like I do actually feel that she was struggling to articulate something, and I do feel like she is to some extent a victim of her own success and the world that she's created for herself. And I do think that she's, I mean, like you look at her, like Jeffrey knows I've spent a lot of time looking at her Instagram. Because it's a goddamn Rosetta Stone that I'm like convinced I'm gonna crack the code on. But like other people we're trying to crack like Britney's Instagram. I'm trying to crack Madonna's Instagram. Like I think that like, you know, like stars in this day and age, like they feel like they have to like create this whole like fantasy world on Instagram, and I feel like she's like trapped with feeling like she has to create this like personality for herself that's not real, you know. And I do feel like when you look at a song like Substitute for Love and you look at the video, you know, like I do think that she was expressing genuine feelings there, you know. It's like it's just hard because like you also are talking about a woman that's been like basically living in an ivory tower for 20-30 years, and like it's hard to be really plugged into reality in a scenario like that.
It's true. It's just that, like, you know, you would hope that a person would stay grounded. And unfortunately, we've learned that fame changes people so much that they're unrecognizable when they get to the other side of it.
But even at the time of Substitute for Love, I do feel like this was her first exploration of what has fame done to me? And I think she was really exploring that before she went back to being like, well, there's nothing else on the other side, so let me go back to the fame. But at this time, before she went back to all that, where she is now, and take the Instagram away from Madonna, please.
Oh God, please. I think that would be the best possible scenario. Can we just like for her own protection, can we just delete her Instagram? You know?
Yeah, like Flashback Fridays only.
Well, the thing I loved about Madonna is she was, at the time, she was very mysterious and we were very disconnected with her. So she would show up every couple of years with an album, and that's all, everything that she didn't say for those 2 years was in that album.
Right.
And that was what Madonna had to say, just those 10 songs. And that's all I need from Madonna. I don't need her daily life. And it, you know, her daily persona kind of takes away from the weight of the music, I feel, a little bit.
I've seen her say in interviews millions of times, like, I don't smoke. And like literally she's smoking in like, over half of her
So
that's a new development, I think.
I know.
Like,
that was
she has smoked throughout her career. Like ever since that she like made a point to say that she doesn't smoke. I started being hyper aware of all the fucking photo shoots she has where she's smoking. It's
that girl.
A lot.
But I do feel like it was a prop a lot of times. But I think there's a new era.
Because you know she was having drags off of it at least.
Sure. But this new era, like she's smoking the ganj.
Oh, she's totally smoking.
Oh yeah, that's every photo.
She's also dating someone that's like a third of her age, so it's like
3.
She's doing the kid thing, which whatever. I mean, Madonna should be able to do whatever she wants. That's the awesome thing. It's just that when you see it, it's horrifying.
Well,
yeah.
I'll go first. I feel like to each their own, and we're so programmed to really want to accept everybody and everything
Jeremy,
they do.
Will you send Jeff X the link?
Yeah. Oh, Jeff X is Jonas. But I really feel like I'm just getting the vibe that Madonna's just not happy. Like all this stuff, I just feel it doesn't make me feel good. Okay, Sharon, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I'm very conflicted for a couple of reasons. One is I get a strong sense that, you know, Madonna's always been rebellious. And I think that, you know, the more that I've thought about it, the more that I think, you know, a lot of it is kind of like I think an innate defiance of like just being really angry at having kind of feeling like she's being told that now that you're a certain age, you have to sit down or you have to restrict who you are and what you're supposed to be because you're 60. And I think she's just completely enraged about that. And I think, you know, and I actually like completely 100% support her on that because it's just, and I like the more that I have thought about it, the more I have come to wonder if really at the core of Madonna has been like not the need to be famous. And maybe it started up to need to be famous, but you know, over the years once she got famous and that wasn't the goal anymore, not the need to be an artist anymore, not the need to be famous anymore, not the need to be a musician, a director, an actress. Maybe at this point now is the need to really just push against that. I want to be a woman in this world and have all the freedoms that a man has, you know, and I feel like that's kind of like the thing here is like, why can't I be why is it that Mick Jagger can date 20-year-old women and go around and do like weird shit and nobody has the same reaction that they do like
the world is sexist
when
and I'm just as guilty. I'm just as guilty of having the reactions, I must admit. Well,
but I am too. That's the thing. I'm a almost 45-year-old woman, you know, and I have the same reactions, you know, and I'm a woman, you know, and I look at it and I'm just like, you know, bro, like is, you know, like, and I feel weird also as a mom. Like I see some of the stuff, like the Instagram stuff where she's like, you know, like there was one where she did a barbecue and like she's got her kids there and she's like smoking weed and like like she looks like she's like having sex with an inflatable pool thing, and I'm like,
at the end
I don't know.
She did that performance of Like a Virgin where she like strips down and like she's humping the stage and like throwing dollar bills out of her snatch, and then like her son's on stage like a minute later, and you're like, really? But
so it's like I'm not. I'm not condoning it. Oh, but at the same time, I also like, you know, I also I don't necessarily. I'm not saying I don't necessarily. You know, I do kind of sense where it's coming from, I guess is what I'll say. It's the same thing with the plastic surgery, you know.
For all of our kids to have books.
I am so confused.
Yes, I think Rocco will make a book because I think when he went to live with his father, he says, "I'm out. She's too crazy for me."
Yeah, that kid definitely tapped out.
I am
like
so
that kid was just like, "We're done."
I am so confused and still so intrigued by that Pride performance. Like I can't stop thinking about it, and I still don't know what to think of it. Like every day, I have a totally different feeling. Like it's the best thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. I can't land on anything. I just keep changing how I felt. I just think the wigs were really cheap looking.
The wigs.
Oh, those wigs. Oh
man,
yeah.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on that performance.
Woo, we better move on, right?
I think we can table that for a whole nother
that could
day.
Be a whole hour.
Madam X.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, what's next? Oh, so for the next track, at this time in Madonna history, there was always one song on the album that would feature Donna and Nikki, her classic backup singers. So this next song is the final time in Madonna history that Donna and Nikki appear on a Madonna album, which breaks my heart because I loved that she always brought them back. And I wish she still did for one song. Like one song an album.
I mean, every song would be great.
Well, even in general, I miss Madonna having background vocalists because now she does her own harmonies. But those, the other textures that people would add really did add to the music. On a Bedtime Story, they sing on Survival. And then on Erotica, they sing on Deeper and Deeper, right? So this continued them doing one song on an album. The song is Nothing Really Matters, which I feel like is the most traditional Madonna song on the album. This sounded kind of like the house that she was doing at the time. Oh, here comes Jeff X, just in time for Nothing Really Matters. We'll introduce Jeff and then, hey.
Hey, girl.
Welcome to our Ray of Light discussion. Now, I know already this is not one of Jeff X's favorite albums.
He's a big Rebel Heart fan.
Yeah. Big, huge Madam X fan. You're on mute, friend.
There you are.
Hey, welcome.
Hey.
So you know Eric and Jeffrey, and we have a new friend here, Sharon from Seattle. This is Jeff X from Orlando.
Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Jeff X from Orlando.
We are just about to start talking about Nothing Really Matters.
Oh, my second favorite song on the album.
Perfect. So the video, she's a geisha girl, which now in 2021 would be looked at as appropriation and not acceptable.
You could not do that video in 2021 for sure.
Here's the remix single, and then the So what do y'all think of Nothing Really Matters?
Not a fan of remixes, I'll say that.
Now, in that extended Ray of Light, this is one of the songs that really shined in the extended version. It was fucking awesome.
I loved it. It's my second favorite song. I love, even like the opening line, like, when I was really young, nothing really mattered to me. But making herself happy. And then as you get older, you start to appreciate and see things differently. And then of course she had Lola. So if I remember correctly, that was written for her, I think. So yeah, it's a good song. And I love it. What it means in every aspect of it, spiritually, lyrically, and sonically. I thought it was going to be another Frozen, and then it just jumps into that house club beat, and I was like, oh, okay, yes, like finally another dance song. So,
And it was kind of comforting to have like a more traditional Madonna song on the album. As much as I loved all the experimentation and some of the crazy shit she was doing, it just felt like a warm. And we were talking earlier, Jeff, how Madonna's at her best really made you feel light and made you feel good and happiness. And this song made me feel really warm in a very comforting kind of way, which her music hasn't done that for me in a long time.
At that point, especially, yeah. So,
well, I'll say, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I should flip this. It's not going to make it different. Now I can be like sideways like you're in.
With her lyrics, like especially like this song, you know, it as trite as it sounds, because of Madonna, it made me curious to research what Kabbalah was, because it was like, wow, this, you know, nothing really matters sounds like a really good place to get to in your head. If like you can get there, that sounds pretty awesome. And if she's getting there from Kabbalah, I want to know what it's about. And so, I mean, I actually am glad I did the research. It's not really for me to practice every day per se, but like it has a lot of great concepts and yeah. But I also know some insider information that, you know, at the Kabbalah Center, although everyone's supposed to be treated equal, Madonna's definitely treated like above everybody else.
That's no surprise.
Yeah, it's irritating to hear that information when it's supposed to not be about that, but you know, it is what it is.
They're like, oh, Esther's here again.
Esther. Oh, I forgot about Esther.
Doesn't really like talk about that. I mean, like, I feel like Madonna usually exploits everything, and she didn't really like do like an album called like Esther or something like that.
Remember, there was supposed to be a remix album, Veronica Electronica?
Electronica, yes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which never happened.
No.
When did Madonna segue out of Kabbalah? Was it after Confessions?
I think she's still into it, actually.
Is she? Is it not in her music?
I've been looking because she wears those gloves all the time because
the red string.
Yeah, she has it on occasionally, but I mean, you're supposed to have it on all the time. So, which is one of the things that turned me off about Kabbalah. So I go to the LA Kabbalah Center, and I was going to Italy like a week later. And so I walked into the gift shop after like kind of looking around and seeing what, you know, the classes are about and all this stuff. And the lady's like, let me see your wrist. And she puts red string on it and she ties it in a knot and then basically was like, oh, that'll be $25.
What?
Oh,
for a piece of string?
Why?
Yeah. She's like, as she's putting it on, she's telling me what, like, it's really good luck to wear it. And it's really bad luck to take it off and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fascinating. And so I thought she was like giving it to me. And then she's like, and I was getting ready to like leave or whatever, and she's like, it's like $25, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I was buying that.
Oh my God.
Do you remember during the reinvention tour, the book, it had the red string at the end also?
Oh, it did. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
I stopped buying tour books because I think I bought the Drowned World one, and it's like this big, and it's like doesn't fit anywhere.
Oh, I've got them all. Jeff went to Miami, and I bought my Madam X book, which was better than the actual show. But anyway.
Yeah, I got mine too. Yeah.
Do we have any other thoughts on Nothing Really Matters?
I like that her hair is black.
Oh,
and, if like Frozen, her hair was black. So the last video was nothing really matters. Her hair is black also. So I love her classic natural hair.
Yeah,
I think she looks so stunning, beautiful. But it's funny, every 10 years, like in 89, 99, her hair is always black. Except for Madame X, she was wearing the wigs. But I just like that era. I think she looks stunning.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. No.
Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
So finally I can do one of my two Goths on Madonna spiels for you guys. Nothing Really Matters. So Frozen is really the pinnacle story here on like Goths on Madonna, but Nothing Really Matters had a pretty singular impact on the goth scene. Because not the song itself, because the song was a little too house and poppy for the goth scene, but man, that it was Gautier, I think, right? Like the PVC kimono was like a shot across the bow in the goth scene. Because let me tell you, the PVC kimono popped up like all over. There was like all these people all of a sudden, like in the goth club with like the PVC kimono, and like it was like a thing. So like, and I'm almost certain it came out of the influence of that video. So she was very successful in at least in influencing the goth scene on that.
I love that.
Yeah, and I mean I love that video, and I think that was also Johan Renck, if I'm not mistaken, who also did the Hung Up video, which is the Hung Up video is possible. Well, I also love the Jump video. Like the Hung Up and the Jump videos are probably my favorite videos that she did. They're not like from an executional standpoint, they're not the best videos she ever did. Well, Frozen. Well, we're about to talk about Frozen, but like those are the ones that I just adore. Well, also Vogue.
Sorry.
Also Express Yourself. Never mind. I'm going to shut up now. But you know what I'm saying. Like they're. You know,
Jeff X, just to get us caught up, this is not one of your favorite Madonna albums, correct?
No, it's not.
No.
It's one of my least favorite albums of Madonna. And
Tell me why.
I don't like Ray of Light, the song. I don't like even when she did like when she did like American Pie, and what's the other song?
Beautiful Stranger.
None of those banjo strumming songs. I don't like Madonna doing that shit. Like it pisses me off. Like I wanted when I heard that Madonna was doing a new album that with these, producers, Orbit or whatever, people from Europe, I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be like new, dance or like, electro, how do you say, like breakbeat. It was gonna be really, really cool and very clubby. I was expecting the modern version of like her first or second album. Like I was expecting a modernized version, and then it was so experimental, it kind of lost me, even though she's always ahead of the game. But when she does those Ray of Light and then the screeching, like Ray of Light, like I can't. I wanted to yank her blonde hair from that colored dance floor tiles, like and just drag her out of the fucking club off the set. Like I couldn't stand it. So yeah. But I do love 3 songs, and my top 3 will always be from least to most would be Frozen, Nothing Really Matters, and then of course The Power of Goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're here in time.
I'm not trying to skip. I'm not trying to skip. I'm just letting you know. I'm not trying to skip. I'm just letting you know what's my top 3 from that album. Or the rest can kick rocks. I'm like,
wow.
That's
the beautiful thing about music is there's no right or wrong. All right. So, do we have any other thoughts on Nothing Really Matters before we move forward? God, I'm so old. I can't even see the track list. What's next? Hold on. I need to go get my glasses. I can't take it.
Walk amongst your films.
I know.
Boy, that writing is so small on the CD. You can't even read it.
Don't be strumming a banjo.
Isn't Sky Fits Heaven next?
Oh yeah, Sky Fits Heaven.
Oh, Jeffrey.
My song.
Now,
I think this is my favorite song on the record.
Weren't the lyrics from this from a Gap commercial?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, there was like
the melody is like almost exactly Walking on the Moon by the Police, but she sped it up. You could like sing the lyrics of that song like over this song.
There was a Gap commercial where the guy's like, "Sky fits heaven, so fly it."
Buy my jeans.
They're
jeans. Nice.
I love this song.
At the time, daughter Lourdes wrote the lyrics to "I Love New York" because those are like the worst lyrics ever.
Makes me feel like it's so
dork. Oh, these discussions that we have coming up, like in a few months, it's about to get wild up in Madonna territory.
You're gonna have to have Ann Fearman on to basically just trash every fucking song.
I feel like Ann Fearman has to make a 5-minute cameo on every. Like we won't keep her the whole episode because it's too much. But we need to have her do a 5-minute cameo every Madonna one. So Sky Fits Heaven. I remember, I was on the Greyhound bus driving from Buffalo to Fredonia the first time I heard the album. Driving down the highway, so all the stuff about traveling and being on my own road, it really spoke to exactly where I was in that point of my life. And I still love this song. Just that bass and the drum fills. I don't know. Fucking love it. So Jeffrey, talk about this song.
No, it's great. I mean, I was getting ready to graduate from college, and I was like, my whole road was ahead of me, and loved driving down the road listening to the song. And I felt like I could just drive really fast and, be reckless, not reckless, but like just like the whole concept of nothing really matters, and like the music to this song, and so many songs on this record just really have like how music takes you back to a period, even like ideas and memories that you have tucked away in a drawer somewhere. When I hear this record, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that exact feeling of that time and that moment, and luckily, I love this record, and I love the moments that I recall.
Now, this album had such a big impact on me at the time that I really wanted to try to be a better person too. I remember like consciously like, Madonna, I'm going to try to be better.
Well, she was like basically saying she was going to try and be better with this record, because like the concepts and the lyrics of the song, I mean, especially for her music, it's pretty deep. I mean, lots of concepts of infinity, and like you can do anything you want, and you just have to open your mind and all these kinds of things. I mean, she tritely talked about them in past records, but like this one, she went in on like the spirituality, but it's not pushy. It's very, because it's like she was just really excited about it. And that's awesome, because I mean, a lot of these concepts are really great. And if people would come back to them, I think the world would be in a better spot, but it's not happening. So
it did feel very enthusiastic, not weighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not pushy. I would agree. I think that's one of the reasons why the album was successful, is that it didn't feel like she was, I think at times she did feel really pushy, with like I would say like American Life felt really pushy. It was just like,
I was about to say that. I was like
yeah. And it was like, I think it was part of why it was just like, Jesus, Madonna. Like, I know you feel really strongly, but it's like I'm not that much of an asshole. But Ray of Light felt like, it was like she had discovered something, she wanted to share it, she was very enthusiastic, but she wasn't condemning all of us.
No, she was
the way that like American Life felt like,
She wasn't shoving it down your throat.
No, it was very much like, I've discovered this thing and I think you might like it, so check it out. Prince had a moment of a many-year period where he did that kind of thing, and then he turned into, you must follow this, otherwise you're going to hell. And I was like, fuck off, dude.
Something I'll say about Madonna at her best is I felt like she met us at eye level. Like she was, it was a friend that you could have a conversation with through her music, eye level. But as she went on, it started to feel like she felt like she was a little bit above us. And she was here to teach us all these deep things that she felt. Because I remember when we went to the Madam X tour, she's like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, yes, we do, Madonna. That's why we're here. You don't have to keep asking if, you don't have to preach to the converted already. Does that make sense?
I would understand what you're saying better if you showed up on time and you turned on the air conditioning.
Yeah, that is true.
Late. She's always late. Always.
Oh my God.
Which, in truth, though, for all her messages in her songs about being humanitarian and everyone being equal, the way she kind of conducts herself towards the fans kind of contradicts the music. And that wasn't happening around the time of Ray of Light. Like, I didn't feel the way about Madonna in 98 as I do now. And her actions towards fans were even different back then. Don't you all feel?
I mean, as far as like signing autographs, she's never been nice.
Sure.
I think on good authority. But so I don't know. I think from a far away, like on a stage, from the stage to the fans, I think she's sort of always been generous-ish. But as far as like, if you see her in a one-on-one situation, she's not the nicest person, and she's always been that way. I don't think there's ever been a time where she was like nice and approachable.
Okay.
It's if you potentially got to some place at the right place at the right time, and there was not a lot of people there, and she might be personable, but almost always it didn't matter. She's just not personable. She just wanted to get inside and get away from everybody as quickly as possible.
I feel there's a difference between not personable and outright disrespectful. Because at some shows she'd be like, "Oh, look at all the people in the back that couldn't afford these seats," and those kind of like classist messages.
Yeah,
that's not what I signed up for.
And it contradicts what a lot of her messages and her music are. So,
and you know, she was never saying stuff like that during the Ray of Light era, which I think is why we connected to her so much. And I think those things started really creeping in, like MDNA onward.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can see that the quality in her music, in my opinion, just starts to. I mean, this was in essence the peak, because music is almost like a less spiritual version of Ray of Light. It's not that much different. It's kind of the same family, like
Sure.
almost like a Revolver and Rubber Soul from the Beatles, kind of thing. And then after that, she started to kind of like go like down creatively, I think. Because I mean, this is a kind of a hard album to top, in my opinion. I mean, great lyrics, the music's great. Sorry, Jeff X.
By the way, I just thought of good analogies instead of what I used earlier, comparing the album. When I heard that she was working with like dance and electro producers from the UK and from Europe, I guess you could say what I was expecting at that time was like a Confessions album, or like a music album, like that, like music. That's what I was expecting around that time, and we got it, but a couple albums later. So.
And just curious, Jeff X, you like music, the album?
Yeah, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it.
All right.
So not like Confessions. I love Confessions.
It's interesting because the first time I heard Confessions was the first time I felt like Madonna wasn't really breaking new ground. Like on my first initial listen, it just felt like it didn't feel revolutionary like Madonna albums always did. But throughout time, that turned out to be the album that almost everyone considers the classic. So
and it even reached younger generations who didn't really grow up with her and weren't into her.
Right, like, that's the album.
That album, like it just like crossed boundaries and reached other audiences. I didn't expect it to do that, but it
Me
did.
neither.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, wow. You know,
that album came out like when I was going through like a really traumatic time, and I loved Hung Up, and I listened to that over and over and over again when I was like really down in the dumps in that period. But the rest of that album, like it brings me to a place that I don't like, and I hardly ever listen to that record.
Wow, are you gonna do the discussion or jump?
Probably not, because I just don't like that record. And it's not the record's fault. It's my personal thing's fault.
See, I kind of want to hear about that stuff.
Me too.
I have such strong positive strong feelings about Hung Up, Jump, and Sorry. I have such strong feelings.
Same.
Sharon, you're invited for all the Madonna podcasts going forward. If you're free and interested, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so, Sky Fits Heaven. Any other thoughts on this one?
Wonder why there was no music video to this one, because I think it would have been a big hit at the clubs. You know, the remixes were good.
I kind of like that there wasn't a video, because then it's my video, like my memories that are in my head instead of Madonna's visual.
She performed this live on the Drowned World Tour, and it was amazing because she had done that the last song on the record, and which is really slow. And then it was like kind of like half that song, and then it like went into this song. And she was wearing I think she was wearing the kimono in that scene, and she like flies and
she's jumping.
Action. It was a really cool performance, and that was the first tour I had ever seen Madonna, and so it was like, oh my god, like this bitch is amazing.
Do you know what I love about Madonna? Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
I was gonna say, this song always reminds me of Jeffrey, because this is like one of those songs that like Jeffrey and I always have random songs. They're always like, you know, album tracks that are not singles, that are like obscure album tracks that are like Sharon and Jeffrey songs, or like songs that like I always like, and this is one of them. Is like, that's a Jeffrey song.
That's so special. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, me and my best friend Ann Fearman never liked the same song, so we would always torture each other with our songs.
We didn't always like the same songs, but the thing was that we had an appreciation for because we were both such huge music lovers that it was like, okay, if I did like that kind of music, this would be the song. Okay, so I get it. I just don't like it.
Fair enough. Now, I will be can I be a little snark here for a second? Yes. Madonna did the whole flying thing in this tour, and then it was amazing, right? Like the Sky Fits Heaven, amazing, flying her all over the place, and then she never fucking did anything like that ever again. I wish fucking Pink would take notes, because she did the flying one time, and then we never could escape it.
She
Like,
still does it.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, we know.
But you know what? Have you ever seen her live? When she does that?
Yes, and I didn't care then either.
Oh, it's life changing when she does that. It's like fucking amazing. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of her music.
Even here at the Madame Tussauds, when you walk into the Madame Tussauds Museum, the wax museum, when you walk into the main lobby, the wax figure that's hanging, it's pink on a swing.
Oh, for fuck's sake! And then when anyone comes up to you,
oh my god, fake wax should come down from the ceiling. Like that'd be so amazing.
My god,
like it's hitting you with the sweat from like the little inner circle.
And then whenever you tell somebody you don't like pink, well, have you seen her fly? Yes, I have. We all have. So I just want to thank Madonna for flying once and not making a whole fucking career out of it.
All her concerts are now flying, basically pink.
Yeah.
Pink. So.
I guess Madonna's thing is she has I feel like she has a bloody nose every tour. Like in her tour videos, there's always like that violent one where she's like in the metal elevator and
like getting ready to go to a boxing ring and get the shit beat out of her or something. Like, okay.
There's always that like violent. Okay.
Because of Stephen Klein. He's really
Stephen
dark.
Klein. Any thoughts on Sky Fits Heaven before we move on?
# best song ever.
All right. We're moving on to Om Shanti. Shanti Shanti. The first time I heard this, I was like, this is so artsy for Madonna. Like, now we're kind of like desensitized to this kind of stuff, but I don't know. I like it. What do you guys think of Shanti?
I like it. I thought it was just so different for her. Like it was something just different. And again, it was it's an experimentally type album. So it kind of goes with it. And then with everything she was into, with the Kabbalah and, experimenting with different cultures, which she's always kind of done. But this time, like she really went there.
And you could sing along to it, unlike Cyber Raga, the other song.
Cyber Raga, yes. There's a drag queen here from South Florida was very popular. She's been around for like over 20 years. She's a tiny little thing. Her name is Daisy Dead Petals. So obviously that's from Tori Amos. So, and Daisy is a huge Madonna fan, and Daisy always performed mostly Madonna songs. And she did music and turned it, and then she did a segued into Shanti, and then they just did the whole Cyber Raga. And she had the long finger cones, like pointy fingers on her hand, like the statue from India. Yeah. So, and her and her dancers, they just turned it out. I mean, back then we didn't have cell phones, so I would just wish that I had that on video, man, because it was amazing.
Oh, wow. And
they had confetti. They had confetti coming out of the ceiling. They had sparklers, like explosions on the stage. Like, it felt like a VMA performance. Like it wasn't a local, little like club corner thing. It was like a real, it was a big club. It was a massive club, and they were allowed to do pyrotechnics in there and confetti and explosions and things. So she turned it out. Her dancers, I felt like it was a Madonna. I thought I was watching Madonna performing it. That's how good it was. She actually did it better than Madonna. So, but she did it. Yeah.
Any other? What do y'all think of Shanti?
I like it. I like when she performed it on MTV, and then we thought that it was going to be a full performance, but it wasn't. And then she changed it into Ray of Light.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember that on 1998 where she won all the awards?
I do remember hoping that she would sound good, and that she didn't. With her vocals. That's what she was wearing. The wife. Oh, we can't call them wife beaters anymore, can we?
Oh my god!
I recently saw this. It was like an audio or something like that. There was like an interview or something. I can't remember if it was audio or.
I just remember her nipples showing through the white tank top she was wearing.
Okay. She was talking about working with Lenny Kravitz on "Justify My Love," and she's like, it was really hot in the studio, and then she's like, I think something happened. Oh my gosh. And then like she moved on, and I was like, yeah, of course something happened. I mean, how could you not when recording "Justify My Love"?
Right.
So, it would not be surprising if something happened while they weren't doing this as well.
All right. Any other? What's the official name of the song? Is it actually Shanti? Let me get out the.
Shanti Ashtangi.
Okay.
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti. Dun, dun, dun.
Do you guys want to take a 5-minute break before we go into the last set of songs?
I don't care. I can power through this.
I'm good. I can power through it.
We're gonna power through. All right. Well, let me get a quick glass of water. All right, we're back to talk about the remaining tracks on Madonna's 1998 Ray of Light. So I was sitting in the back bedroom, which was converted into a living room of my friend's house, and there was this little commercial on MTV that said "Coming Soon," and there was this woman with black hair that turned into these birds, and then there was just like a little like sound clip, and then it said Madonna, and I was like, "Holy shit! What is going on here?" So then I heard Frozen for the first time, and I could not believe how good that fucking song was the first time I heard it. Because, you know, Madonna had been with me almost my whole life then. But after the last album, Bedtime Stories, like, so much had happened in my life, and I got into cooler music, and holy shit, Madonna just came out with this new song that trumped anything I'd ever heard in my life, and that was Frozen. So Sharon, let's have you start the Frozen discussion, reporting from Gothland.
Yeah, so checking in here, Goths on Madonna. The funny thing about, not funny thing, the interesting thing about Frozen that we were kind of talking about in the break is that it is a genuine and sincere goth club hit, which not everyone that has not been inside a goth club would know. And part of that, I think, is a testament to the beautiful video that Chris Cunningham made, which is just, I think we all just know and love. You know, goth and not goth alike. You know, he just did a phenomenal. He did such a phenomenal job on that, and she just looks incredible. And then she like falls backwards and she turns into crows, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" You know, and then there's like a dog, and there's like 3 Madonnas, and everyone's just like, you know. But then, you know, the song itself is just like, it's just so like magical, and, you know, like there's like incantations, and it's like, you know, and then like you can just do all of this stuff to it, and like that song comes on in a goth club, and there's like girls on the dance floor, and they're just like, you know, it's like it is on, you know. And it's like nobody's like, "Oh no, this is Madonna, I can't answer this." They are just like all up in it. So like that's one of the things I've always loved about you know, it's just such a funny thing about the goth scene is that like you can have all of these songs, and like people are like so desperately trying to be cool all the time, but like a song like that, you know, it's like it doesn't matter if it's Madonna, it doesn't matter, like, you know, like if it's a good song and it has like that incredibly powerful visual connected to it, like, you know, it just works. So it's 100% goth approved.
Now, I feel like Madonna first of all, this was co-written with Patrick Leonard, correct? Who was
that one? Was that one of the Patrick Leonard tracks? I didn't know that.
The Power of Goodbye was Patrick.
That was the other guy.
That was Rick Knowles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who's the Lana Del Rey guy, by the way?
Oh, I didn't know.
You have a book. You have the booklet, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Let me find it somewhere here in my.
While you're doing that, I will visit the other side of Clubland with Frozen and the gay clubs. And I was turning 21 and going to the clubs for the first time, and kind of still being like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gay!" Like all those feelings. And then you've got like a Madonna fucking club hit that's like a banger to end all bangers, where it's like starts off like dramatic with like no music, and then all of a sudden it's like building slowly, and then it gets to the chorus and just explodes, and the whole fucking place just goes berserk. And in those days, and there's nothing better than that feeling. And I mean, if no matter how sucky Madonna becomes or whatever, like I will always be grateful for those feelings that you cannot capture other than pure joy, pure love. Everybody just loved each other for that 5-minute period, or 8-minute period in this case, or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was co-written with Patrick Leonard, who also co-wrote Live to Tell and many of the classic Madonna hits. So I remember coming back to write this one of the best songs ever written. That when you listen to this, the production is still daring. Like some of those drops and the bass stabs, like it's just not something you heard in pop music before or after. I feel like the song is so unique unto itself. And hearing the song before the rest of the album, I just wondered how she'd be able to keep up the momentum of the song. And the rest of the album is different.
Yeah, it's a nice palate cleanser. It fits perfectly on the record. Yeah, it's like a bunch of like really heavy dance tracks, and then it kind of goes down tempo a little bit. But
didn't it blow all of your minds the first time you heard it for a lead Madonna single? Like, fuck me.
It's
I didn't love it as much until I saw the video. And then when I saw the video, I was like, okay, got it.
I felt like the video gave more life to the song for me. Like after I heard the song first, and then when we saw the video, it was like, to me, it made me like it even more. Like, at least for me.
I mean, you gotta think about it. Like the whole thing was super gutsy on her part, right? Like you're leading with a video where it's not just Madonna, like with like deep goth Madonna. First of all, let's just start with that, right? Like with deep black hair and like, in the Mojave Desert, like it's not just that. It's not just this like esoteric kind of stripped down tempo, like trip hoppy, like kind of almost anticipating trip hop to some extent, but like this is like a pop icon, doing this, and like you're expecting a dance track, right? Like you're expecting Madonna, like this sort of like lighthearted, like you're almost expecting from Madonna like a Ray of Light track. So like the fact that she went out the gate with a song like this and with such a like visual spectacle as Frozen, like it would a safer bet would have been like going out with Ray of Light as an opening track and then following up with Frozen. So like I really have to hand it to her for that, but I do think it was more memorable the way she did it, and it was more of a statement, And
the thing is, I think a lot of times pop stars, when they do something weird, it almost feels like they're playing dress up. Like when Christina Aguilera tried to get more artsy and weird, it just didn't feel authentic, but something about Frozen just really felt authentic to me. I didn't feel like Madonna was playing dress up. I really feel like she was that character, that witch out in the desert. Like it didn't feel like a costume to me. It felt like she was truly channeling a kind of magic. And I don't know if that's because I'm a Madonna fan or because it was just so good.
Well, I will say, I'm sorry, I didn't.
So Eric, you go, and then back to Sharon.
Well, I was going to say the Madam X concert wasn't to me. It was kind of ghetto a little bit because it wasn't like a big production, and she owns all of her masters and her videos. But like if you went to the concert and you saw the visuals in the back, it was like low quality, like a prayer. Nothing was like very clear. The background of the videos, but during Frozen, when she did Frozen, I thought it was really special. Everyone was like so excited to see her perform, and when she had Lola in the background, it was just like a lot of people were in tears because it was really emotional. She was giving you a performance, and it was really good. So that's one good thing I can say about the Madam X concert. I know we're talking about Frozen, but I was talking about her performance in Frozen during the Madam X concert.
I remember feeling like when I saw that performance, I did think it was beautiful, but I felt like it was a little out of range for where her voice is now. Like I just remember her like stretching to hit the notes and not being as graceful as on the maybe like the Reinvention tour.
Well, I heard that like a few months back, she did all the edits. She didn't like how the Madam X concert was, so she redid the shoots for this song. So I'm sure she did some audio if it doesn't sound right to make it sound good.
Well, the whole damn tour is auto
studio version. The studio version of the Madam X concert.
Just what the world needs. Can't wait.
Me, I love the track. I think that it's a classic. It caught all of us off guard, fan or not fan, and it made people who weren't fans of Madonna into fans. And I think that it's, like I said, the visual was amazing. And then what Jeffrey said earlier is that, the club in the gay clubs, that was like a big deal too. And then the remix for that was amazing. And what I liked is that even though the club versions are all like more house and harder with, you know, dance beats, but they always had a drop. When you heard it in the club, it dropped. And for a while, you just heard this symphonic, you know, like the violins and all that, you know, like the Gothic, I guess you could say, the classical music from that, the element of that song, it just dropped and it just, you know, then you'd hear the ethnic drums and all that coming in. And then the song, like you said, would build up and then boom, like a big release and everyone would just go crazy. So that takes me back to that time too, around when the song came out. It takes me back to that.
All right, this is off topic, and everyone's going to totally make fun of me. But you know what I feel like the most ultimate drop of all time is in a club song? Fucking Mariah's Fantasy remix. That remember the house version, though, where she redid the vocals?
Is it the David Morales remix?
David Morales.
David Morales, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
I need to find the curated list of her remixes because I don't know like most of her music.
Oh my God. Those fucking... Okay, don't get me started. Back to Madonna. Don't get me started on Mariah. Okay, so I'm going to tell two stories about Frozen. Number one, like I said, I taped it off my TV. I remember walking to Arby's saying, I'm never going to listen to another song in my life because nothing will ever be me more than this song. And of course, you know, that was 98. I did listen to more music eventually. I did listen to more than just Frozen. And then my number two story is I was in the local pizza place, Pizza Wings and Things. I remember Frozen had just gotten released, and there were these like they weren't called hipsters at the time.
Please tell me it was a commercial for the pizza joint.
No, but Frozen came on the radio.
You're frozen.
And I remember these tastemakers in line, like in front of me, like I overheard them talking like, oh, this is the new Madonna song, and it's really good. So I just was silently standing there like, that's right, bitch. That's right, motherfuckers. That's Madonna, and she's back. So.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like this was kind of the ultimate comeback of her career. Because a lot of our 80s people didn't really survive in the 90s. But she made it through the early 90s and then the mid 90s. But then.
Took a long break.
And then to come back again in the late 90s. With all its critical acclaim, like fucking A.
It also reminds me of my friend Eunice, because she's a huge fan of that album, and she actually got it before me. So we'd drive around her car, like listening to it day in and day out, everything we were doing. So yeah, it reminds me of her. Like she's the one who gave me a heads up when it was coming out, the album, and like she printed stuff off her computer. Almost none of our friends had computers at that time. So she was one of the few ones that did. And she printed it out and she's like, oh, we need to like keep tabs on this. Like as soon as it gets out, we're going to get it. And then she, I couldn't go with her when she went to buy it. So she bought it before I did, but I heard it for a couple of weeks before I got my copy with her in the car. And yeah, it reminds me of her a lot, actually.
I love the logo, how subtle the little lines there. I think I have a friend that has that tattooed. The little
yeah, my friend has that too. My friend Madi has that tattooed.
All right, so do we have any thoughts on Frozen before we move on?
Madonna just posted a video on Instagram right now. I don't know why she's doing this, but she's making out with that guy, her boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Well, moving on to.
Oh, I'm sure it's quality, whatever the video is.
Oh, and you know. Now she refers to herself as Mambo. So whenever she does something, me and my friend Oki are like, oh, Mambo.
Just so you know, Jim Morrison, when he would get drunk, had a personality called Jimbo. So I'm assuming
maybe Jimbo and Mambo are spirit twins.
Jimbo and Mambo might be related.
When you listen to that album, that song, "The Future" on Madam X, who's in there? He's with Quavo, right? Quavo. How do you say his name?
His name is Sean Lee or Lee something.
But in the beginning, he's like, Mambo. So I'm like, oh, shit. She even gets a shout out in her song with her nickname.
Oh, girl.
Oh,
Quavo. Quavo's his name. That's his name.
Let's go back to better times in the Madonna universe with the next song on Ray of Light, which is The Power of Goodbye, correct?
Yes.
I love this song.
Yeah, so after you play Frozen, like, how the fuck do you follow up Frozen on an album? Like,
With an even better song.
So the video, she has black hair again. She walks into the
She looks
ocean.
amazing in this video.
She looks so incredible.
She's
It's like
playing chess.
She's
Makeup.
that is the sexiest goddamn chess game ever recorded. Can I get a witness?
Isn't someone who was in that video now famous on their own?
Yeah, he's the he's the actor. He's an actor. The guy. Well, he's obviously an actor, but I mean,
Now in the expanded William Orbit Ray of Light, there's a whole verse on Power of Goodbye, correct? That was cut out of the later version.
Yeah, it's like at the beginning.
Yeah, it's really good.
And the original version of this, which is on those other demos, is really boring.
Right.
It's like almost like no music at all, and it's just like really slow, and you're just like, get to the fucking point.
So this was a co-write with Rick Knowles, who started off with Stevie Nicks' "I Can't Wait" on her Rock a Little album, and he did all the Belinda Carlisle stuff. "Heaven Is a Place on Earth," "Runaway
really?
Horses."
I didn't know that.
Yep, he's the Belinda Carlisle. So that's why a lot of times Lana Del Rey gives me Belinda Carlisle feels a tiny bit. It's because she had the same collaborator.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yep.
did he do "I Get Weak"?
Solo music.
Did he do "I Get Weak"?
I think
love
he did.
that
We got to look it up. Sorry, Phonogenics.
Because that's a fucking great song.
It is. I Get Weak, Circle in the Sand, and
Circle of Sand.
Circle in the Sand. I love those songs. And she's done on my song when they do it. But anyway, that's Madonna, my bad.
I know, we just can't help ourselves, can we? Okay.
But this song is so incredible. It's funny too, because I hear this song and I'm like, she's like a millimeter away from being like Sarah Brightman corny, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
She's like a millimeter from it, and she somehow she like lands that plane, spectacularly.
Right.
And it could have crashed and burned in like Sarah Brightman land. But
thank God it didn't.
No, it's like, it's so great.
And sad.
And the lyrics are great. And it's like, this is Madonna. She doesn't always like, she doesn't always like deliver on the lyrics every time, but man, the lyrics are powerful, and the vocal delivery is powerful. And it's like, and you can tell like I don't know if it's ever been like discussed what specifically she was writing about. I assume it was the Carlos Leon relationship. I don't really know, but like, man, like you can, like, there's a lot of emotion that she really delivers in it. It's just, it's clearly like when she's singing it, it's clearly very resonant.
I think this song was inspired by Kabbalah, because Nothing Really Matters, and this song especially, a lot of the things she's saying are like directly Kabbalah ways of life and principles. So I think these are maybe potentially also inspired by her own life, but definitely Kabbalah. These are like two of her most Kabbalah-ish songs,
which might have been a tool for her to manage her grief and her traumas with Kabbalah.
Well, it's my number. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The video, the guy was Goran. I'm going to spell his last name, Visnjic, who I think was on. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck too.
All right, so let's do Jeff X, then we'll go back to Sharon.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's my favorite song on the album. So my favorite my number 3 song is Frozen. My number 2 is Nothing Really Matters, and my number 1 is this one is The Power of Goodbye. I don't know, like Sharon had said, like we don't know exactly what or who she wrote it for or what the reason is behind the song, but it's personal to me. With Lost, it's kind of like the Live to Tell or This Used to Be My Playground of this album for me.
Yep.
So, and it's just very personal with losses I've had, like people I've lost and things like that. So, and I even like, the lyrics, like in relationships as well, your heart is not open, so I must go. The spell has been broken. I loved you so. You know what I mean? And how it says, pain is a sin. What is it? What's the lyric? This just says pain is
a warning that something's wrong.
Yes.
Oh my
And
God.
yes, like that cut me to the core when I first heard it, when it first came out. And I was like, yeah, it's because it's so true.
That's super Kabbalah teaching right
And
there.
it's physically and emotionally true. So that's why I loved it. And I was like, wow. And then the video, and you know, it's just so dark, and it kind of kept that darkness that we loved from Frozen. Like I wanted to stay in that dark space, like a good dark space, if that makes sense. So like I wanted to stay that, and with that song, it kind of continued, segued for me. Like it was kind of like a B-side, like the Frozen side A and that song side B of the darkness for that time.
And that line, pain is a warning that something's wrong. Like, I need to etch that on my fucking forehead so I can remember that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because how many times have I stayed in a situation trying to make it right when pain is a... You know what? That line I never really paid attention to that line until right now.
Really?
You know how sometimes you just miss a line and it's like... There was a line like in Love Tried to Welcome Me, like from the previous album, that I never really paid attention to. Then sometimes things hit you like boom. So I'm definitely going to meditate on that after this podcast.
I want to re-listen to Candy Perfume Girl now that I know that it's about Wendy's brother, like, and Susanna's brother. Like, that song like now has like a whole new meaning. Dude,
this discussion's like blowing my mind. I'm having a fucking blast.
And you know, to go on that, the chorus, you know, there's nothing left to say, there's nothing left to do, nothing left to lose. There's no greater power than the power of goodbye. It's the truth. When you
take control,
power of goodbye, there's no greater power than that. Whether it's you're leaving somebody, relationship wise, or someone's left you, or you've physically lost someone, as in a death of a loved one, there's no greater power than that. Like that's it. There's no more. You know, they're gone, and you can't come back from that, and that sticks with you. And that having had recent losses around that time, it's stuck to my soul.
What's the best Madonna songs do?
Y'all remember that makeup artist Kevin Aucoin?
Aucoin, yeah.
Yeah. He did Madonna's makeup for The Power of Goodbye.
Really?
Oh,
he did.
Oh my God.
And there is a Polaroid, I'll show it to you right now, that he took of her from the photo shoot.
Oh.
I have one of his books, and there's like a big poster of, not a big poster, but size of the book, where it's a picture of her with the makeup on that. Oh. So I just wish there was like a big size poster of that, because I love that era, and I love just the way that she looks in the video.
It was amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right, Sharon.
I forgot what I was going to say, but I will say the line that sticks with me from that song was, oh God, now like somebody fix what I'm going to say, but like, I was your fortress to burn.
Right. I was a fortress that you had to burn.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was a fortress and you watched me burn, or something like that. Yeah.
Did you need whatever?
Yeah.
Like that to me was there's something really profound to unpack in that kind of that realization. You know? Mm-hmm. When you know, which is all sort of wrapped up in this whole thing of like, you know, the pain is the warning, you know, like, mm-hmm. And I think I think Jeffrey, you're right. Like ultimately there's a lot of sort of the Kabbalah lessons in there that she's trying to impart, but I do think there's a huge amount of like personal experience that she's kind of putting into that, which is like, absolutely, you know, the experience of like having, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think to some extent these are reminders to herself. I mean, because she obviously has terrible taste in men. She, you know, yep. But I mean, and she's also like super famous. So, I mean, how can you be how can anybody truly love you for you unless you marry somebody really famous? And that hasn't worked out very well for her with Warren Beatty and Sean Penn and
terrible taste in men. Can you pull up that Instagram post?
And like I mentioned earlier, to jump off what you just said, Sharon, like that lyric, and it's similar is when she said the spell has been broken. And it's kind of like we've all been there when you finally see someone for who they really are.
You see their true colors. Yes.
Yeah, their true colors, and like, wow, like the spell has been broken. I see you for what you really are.
Yeah.
You know, I always liked this song, but I never realized how much I liked it till now, which sounds stupid. But this song really is in the kind of the same league of the Live to Tells and This Used to Be My Playgrounds. I feel
Absolutely.
like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Live to Tell is my favorite Madonna song of all time, by the way.
Me too.
Oh,
Me too.
Like I still like I can put on that song. Oh my god, the video of that song is just like I can put on that song and I'll get chills. Like it'll be like 3:00 in the afternoon and like, you know, I'll be like, God damn it.
Yeah, sometimes it pops up.
I ran away.
Just sometimes I'm like, you know, cleaning the house, or I'm in a happy mood, and all of a sudden, it's on my playlist is on random here. So, man, like, oh, here it comes. I'm like, I have to switch it. Sometimes I'll have to switch it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still that song like these that we're talking about. That's probably her first dark haunting song. That song is still a haunting song to many people. Live to Tell.
So is The Power of Goodbye her last haunting song like this, in your opinion? Was she ever able to capture that again?
I'm trying to think.
I think she tried with like Masterpiece, but no.
I mean, I think the lyrics to Jump from Confessions are
So-
on this level because they're very much like empower yourself, and like The Power of Goodbye is also very much empower yourself.
Okay.
And, you know,
So the two comments I was going to say, Jeffrey, you were kind of reading my mind a little bit, was there's a little I know, well, we have the same brain, just two people, same brain, but there's a little bit of it in Jump, although you're right, the attitude's a little different, but there's a little tiny bit of it in Sorry too, you know?
yeah.
Sorry,
You know,
has a little bit of it to me. Yeah.
like
And
although it's a little more angry in Sorry, you know.
I'm trying to think of Rebel Heart. What songs in Rebel Heart or MDNA that may have that vibe? And I can't even think of them right now. It's
What
terrible.
song
There might be something on Rebel Heart for sure, but I mean, like the song Rebel Heart was basically like, I'm so enlightened and y'all suck. And it was like,
what song I always thought?
Unapologetic.
Oh, I love that one.
yeah.
Me and Jeremy worked that.
The song that I always thought was really powerful, and you guys might make fun of me, but my favorite on Confessions, I think, was that Let It Will Be. Like I just always, yeah, that song just was.
I can see that.
It reminded me of Don't Fear the Reaper a little bit. All right, so any thoughts on Power of Goodbye before we move on?
Great.
I will say that I introduced my mom to it. My mom doesn't listen to everything I listen to, but she knows Madonna is and stuff, but obviously she's a little older. My mom likes her older stuff, obviously like the first 2 albums. After that, she doesn't really know much about Madonna.
Right.
But anytime she sees something of her, she'll let me know. Anyway, when we were here during COVID, during quarantine, you know, we started listening to old things and looking through old things. And I let her listen to the song, and my mom speaks English, but with a heavy accent. But what I did is that I translated it in Spanish to her, and I wrote it. And she read it, and she thought it was so beautiful. And then I said, well, wait, you have to see the video now.
Oh.
She sat in my living room, and she was like, oh, I want to see the video. Show me the video. Show me the video. She's like tapping her hand on the sofa, like, show me the. And she loved the video, and she loved the song. So, yeah.
Oh. I know, we just had to sit for a moment. That was beautiful.
Oh.
We were like,
It was a mom son, you know, bonding quarantine moment we had. It was really cute, and I'm glad she loved it, and it touched her, you know, because she can relate to that as well.
Where's your mom from?
My mom's Puerto Rican. She's
Oh.
My parents are from
Puerto Rican,
Honduras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So much like on Bedtime Stories, there was kind of like the ballad area of the album. I feel like we've gone into the ballad area of Ray of Light. Because, you know, we had Forbidden Love and then Love Tried to Welcome Me. And on this one, we have Power of Goodbye into To Have and Not to Hold. So
in
it's kind
my
of like,
opinion, the album makes a dramatic drop off at this
Yes.
point. It's like this song is like good, and it's like the final moments, and then it's like, oh, because like I don't care much for Little Star, and I don't care for Mergirl at all.
Well, let's just wrap it up, you guys. No, I'm just-
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
and we're gonna talk about music next month. And so,
thank you. Good night.
to have or not to hold, like she started like really doing that. Like I had enough of that already. Like with Frozen and Secret from before.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the song, but it's definitely not my favorite on Ray of Light. It just I don't know. What do y'all think of this one? And Janet already talked about the Moth to the Flame. So let's leave that with Janet.
I know. Like a moth to a flame. I'd rather that.
Well,
Probably no one's a fan of the song.
no one's a fan of the
Yeah,
song.
I mean, like I literally have no opinion, so that tells you everything.
All right. So Little Star was about her daughter, and I feel the intention of the song was very good. It was produced with, how do you pronounce his name? Marius
DeVries.
who worked with Bjork. So I feel like the concept and intention behind the song was great, but the song itself just was never one of my favorites. I just felt like the production was like, the rest of the song felt really natural, but I feel like it was like a really crappy, syrupy song that was trying to be disguised with edgy production. And it kind of worked on, I thought the Oprah Winfrey more acoustic version.
With the piano.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, that did it for me. But this album version, like, not one of my favorites. Anybody else have anything to say about Little Star?
Yeah, I'll just add on to that and say, not a huge fan before having a child. After having a child, I'm like, oh, that's really cute, but I'm still not a fan. Even now I even have a kid. And I'm like, say like, oh, do my feelings change now that I have a child? And I'm like, I understand the sentiment behind it. I'm like, no. Like I still feel like Drowned World has a better like emotional resonance, emotional core to it. So yeah.
I definitely feel this could have been left off the album and it wouldn't have hurt my heart at all. And I will also say
it should have been the last song, but like it would have ended on Goodbye.
Exactly.
And then it would have been a perfect album.
It is certainly no Lucky Star. That's what I'll say about Little Star. It is certainly no Lucky Star.
Or Baby I'm a Star.
Or Baby I'm a Star.
Baby, I'm a star. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
All right, so the album ends with a very artsy, or I feel like this is art. It's a song about her mother's death, which we already covered and Promise to Try beautifully, I might add. So we're back there, and she also talked about it in Inside of Me on Bedtime Stories.
That blew my mind because I thought that song was about like getting fucked, and then it was like, no, it's about my mom. I'm like, whoa.
Which I'm not here to say that you can't write about a tragic experience. Some people draw on it their whole life.
Whilst getting fucked.
Well, yeah, while you're getting fucked. I thought Murgirl was daring. I liked it, but it's not something I listen to all the time. I don't know. How do you all feel about it?
I always skip it.
I skip. I after Power of Goodbye, I skip the rest. And I skip some of the
I
top
did too, see?
I don't get it why it was in the Drowned World tour.
No, but I mean, the good thing was that as soon as that was over, then it was like a really good song, and it was like the best part of the concert. I think she probably did that to make everybody pay attention to that song. That's my thought, because like
Probably.
it's so easy to turn the CD off, because it was like if you didn't get up after Power of Goodbye and you let Little Star run for a second, you were like, okay, but now I gotta like get up because I really don't want to hear that last track.
Did anyone like this song here?
I mean, like, I tried. I tried.
I feel just like Little Star, the intention and the concept are great, but the execution both kind of fail a little bit in both songs, I think. The very last, isn't like the last notes on the album where she's talking about like her burning flesh and then the album's over? It's like, it is a pretty dark way to end the album. But it could also ended with a.
You just reminded me of the Evil Dead. Don't burn her! Don't burn her! You have pretty flesh. Give it to us.
I look at Murder. Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
I was gonna say you could see it a little bit, kind of like if, like, you know, Rise of the Phoenix, kind of like, death and rebirth. You could kind of see it that way if you wanted to.
She always has these weird album enders, like these
Weird album ender.
like this reminds me of like Pulling Free from MDNA, which is like just weird.
Yeah, it sounds slimmer, like a little bit. They sound alike a little bit.
Right. And then like that Easy Ride from American, just these songs at the end of the album. Well,
It's not a really good album ender, and now that you really kind of brought that to the forefront here.
and then of course, like I said, the Japanese edition ended with Has to Be, which might have been a little bit better than.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to that one than Your Girl.
But that song like doesn't go anywhere either, right? But to me, her B-sides were really bad for this record, which is she like never did B-sides, and then she did some, and they're all bad.
I didn't mind Has to Be. It was just slow. It was another slow song.
Meanwhile, there's like 4 or 5 unreleased songs from this period. They were all really good. Like Revenge was a good one, and there's a song called Gone, Gone, Gone.
Oh, I like those two.
There was like 2 or 3 that from that they were unreleased that were like all really good. And then she released like all those crappy ending songs and all the crappy B-sides.
So let's talk about a couple of the songs that came out before we get to the music era. What did you all? So after Ray of Light, Madonna critically acclaimed. She was looked at in a new light, and then the first thing she released after that was a song from Austin Powers called "Beautiful Stranger." And the first time I heard it, I'm like, "Oh, fun Madonna's back a little bit." What did you all think of "Beautiful Stranger"?
To me, it sounds exactly like the remix of Ray of Light, and so I thought they were playing a remix of Ray of Light on the radio, and I was like, "That's weird." And then the other part that's not the Ray of Light remix is a ripoff of a song by a band called Love, called "She Comes in Colors." That
I can't stand that song. I can't stand that song.
How do you really feel?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like Ray of Light. I don't like Beautiful Stranger, or what's the other
American
one?
Pie?
American Pie.
American Pie.
No, I don't like American Pie.
Just Vomit City. I want to like yank her by her hair and put her in a studio chair and be like, "What the fuck? Why did you do this?" So, yeah. And then like even Beautiful Strangers, when she goes da 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 da, annoying as fuck. And then the same thing with Ray of Light. It's just a ray of light. When she goes crazy, like I mentioned earlier, like it just swinging her hair. I want to like smack her. I want to smack her and tell her shut up and sit down. Now, like an adult.
Sit your ass down, bitch. Yeah. Like in Steve of Hearts.
I like the video.
During the Confessions
I love the video.
During the Confessions tour, I liked every track except the Ray of Light, that version she did on there. And I didn't like in 2005, she did I think Live 8 or Live something, where she did 3 songs. Music, she did Ray of Light, but it was like she was screaming. It sounded like really bad. It was worse than the Oprah one. I didn't like how when she sung that also on there.
I did like Beautiful Stranger, but it did introduce that squat dance that she did endlessly ever since then. Like she never danced the same after Beautiful Stranger. She started that pussy squat and just never stopped doing it everywhere. Okay, I'm going to say something controversial, and you guys are all going to make fun of me, but Madonna's version of American Pie is one of my favorite Madonna songs. I love the video with all the lesbians in it and all the
oh my god
rural America. Like it makes me start crying. It's like she turned the 70s song that I never liked into like this little pop gem, and I was all about it. I still love it.
No, they're all gonna laugh at you.
They're all
twice. Even
Did you like
the
the Next Best Thing movie?
Yes, I saw the Next Best Thing.
Okay,
so
so
that movie.
But I like the live version she sung in the movie better than the track.
Did anyone else like American Pie besides?
Oh, it's one of my least favorite Madonna songs.
It's one of my top 10 favorites of all Madonna.
Wow.
Well,
And then she had that other song, "Time Stood Still," on the soundtrack, which I thought was boring.
One. That was a very good one.
You liked it? I thought it was.
Yeah.
You
I
heard
boring
Jeremy?
also. And then she did a song with Ricky Martin. Or was that?
Oh, "Be Careful with My Heart."
Yes.
Yeah.
That song was okay.
Jeremy, at least it's not I Know It.
I don't understand the hate for that song.
All right.
Cute little ditty.
So just like American Pie. So before we wrap up our discussion, does anyone have any final thoughts on the Ray of Light era Madonna?
Are we ranking it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, we got to rank it on a scale of 1 to 10.
What's a 1 and what's a 10?
1 is a piece of crap flop.
1 is Madam X.
Whoa!
Sorry.
There's no number low enough.
I'm sorry, Madge. I didn't mean it.
I can't stop laughing. Okay, so I gotta tell a quick story. My friends in Tampa, we drove around and they're like, I want you to listen to this Madam X album. This is just like 2 weeks ago. They're musician friends of mine, not Madonna fans at all. And every song I played, they're like, I'm like, what would you rank on a scale of 1 to 10? They're like, 1. What do you think of the song? Garbage. That album is worse now than when it came out, because in light of all the social activism and stuff of the last few years, it really, her like white saviorism just really did not work well in the context of, okay, but I guess we'll get there in a few months. Ray of Light. Okay, a 1 is Madam X. And a 10 is, what is the ultimate album of all time?
I'm Breathless soundtrack. No, I'm kidding.
I'm Breathless.
I'm breathless.
Now I'm following you.
I have to say though, after that freaking discussion, I listened to that album like once a day for like 3 weeks.
It's so good, isn't it?
It's actually better than I thought. I think I gave it a 9.
Yo, man, with the gun in your hand.
That's the share voice.
What do you give I'm Breathless now?
I give it a 9 on the podcast. I love that album.
Does it maintain as a 9?
And I'll segue that into my score for Ray of Light, which is an 8.
An 8?
Yes, because it ends so badly for me, and the B-sides are so bad. It just, there's no way it can be a 10. Even though if it would have ended at Power of Goodbye, it would be like a 10 plus.
Okay. Eric, what do you?
9.
A 9?
Yeah.
Okay, Sharon.
I'm going to go with an 8.5 because I think I do like it better than Jeffrey. I do agree, though. I feel like the end was weak. I think she could have done a little more judicious pruning, and if she had, it could have been a 9 or 10 record for her.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff X.
I only like 3 songs on it. So for me, it's, again, Frozen, Nothing Really Matters, and Power of Goodbye. So to me, it's album as a whole is probably a 6.
Ooh.
Now, I think I'm going to...
7, maybe.
Because of its cultural impact, and I really do think it changed the landscape of pop music, despite the last 3 songs being kind of, I think I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh.
So, well, thank you all so much for talking about Madonna. I'm going to pause it.
Did Eric's? Did you?
Yeah, Eric gave it a 9.
I was just giving a thumbs up.
I'm going to pause it, and then we can all say goodbye to each other. But before, I can't even talk because I'm so tired. Sign up for my Patreon. Subscribe to YouTube. I love you all, and we'll see you next month talking about music.